Afterwards, I lie curled against Eris beneath the soft covers, her warmth wrapped around me like a protective cocoon. Our bare skin touches in quiet places, hip to hip, heart to heart, while her steady breath fans gently through my hair, my cheek resting just over her chest. The slow, rhythmic beat of her heart pulses in my ear like a lullaby, grounding me. The room is dim, lit only by the flickering glow of a lone candle, its amber light dancing across the walls in soft, sleepy patterns. For a while, it feels like we've created our own little world here, one untouched by fear, free from questions or shadows. But I feel it. Even in this warmth, even in her arms, there's something unspoken clinging to Eris. A heaviness she hasn't voiced. A silence too intentional to ignore. It has to be about Zirak. I swallow the lump rising in my throat, then softly ask, "Were you a pillar of shadow, Fong?" Eris chuckles, her chest rising slightly beneath my cheek. "Well, look at you," she murmurs. "When did you get so sharp?" "I just had a hunch." I protest, cheeks puffing up in a pout. She hums thoughtfully. "A dangerous hunch." But she doesn't deflect. Instead, she exhales slowly, her fingers lazily tracing idle circles on my back as the mood shifts. "My father was one of Shadowfang's top pillars," she begins, voice distant, like she's speaking from another time. "When he vanished, I threw myself into training. Dungeon dives, duels, weeks without sleep. I rose through the ranks, and eventually I earned the title myself." I blink against her skin. "Then why?" "I left," she says simply, cutting me off. "A few years ago." That explains why Coram and Darren didn't recognize her. She's been gone long enough to become a ghost of her own legacy. "But why leave?" I murmur, shifting to look up at her. Eris gives a small, lopsided smile. "The job came with too many chains. Politics, leadership drama, and way too much paperwork." She snorts softly. "I like freedom, not red tape." A laugh slips out of me before I can stop it. But her smile fades. Her voice dips lower. "The truth is, I left to find my father. That's always been the real reason, right?" Of course. Her father. Everything Eris does, every risk, every journey, it's always been about finding him. But now that I know this much, another, more terrifying question starts burning at the back of my throat. I hesitate. I don't want to ask, but I have to. "Eris," my voice trembles. "Are you going back to Zirak?" I feel her body stiffen slightly. Her arms tighten around me, possessive and protective. She doesn't answer right away. The silence stretches, long, tense, and every second feels like a thread about to snap. Because if Eris was a pillar, if she truly cared about Shadowfang, she can't ignore what happened. I picture it, her charging headfirst into that chaos, against the Black Scorpion Guild, against impossible odds. My chest constricts painfully. I can't lose her. I won't. But then, finally, her voice slices through the storm in my mind. "I'm not going," she says, calm and certain. My eyes snap open. "You're not." She looks down at me, and for the first time in a while, there's a gentleness in her expression. Moonlight dances across her features, making her look almost ethereal. "What?" she teases softly. "Did you want me to go?" "No." It bursts out of me before I can stop it. I launch upward, arms wrapping tightly around her, clutching her like she might disappear if I blink too long. My face presses against the curve of her neck, heart pounding as I hold her close. "I don't want you to go," I whisper, voice shaking. "Please don't go." Her arms fold around me, firm and warm, anchoring me. "I'm not that reckless," she murmurs. "I know my limits, and I won't walk into a death trap I can't walk out of." I breathe her in. She smells like lavender and smoke and the faint warmth of something I can't name. But then her voice changes. Soft, fragile, but still so many of them people I trained with, laughed with, gone. Just like that. There's a tremble in her chest, a subtle hitch in her breath. I feel it all in her silence. The grief she keeps buried deep. The guilt. The mourning. "Eris," I whisper, my heart breaking a little more with each word she doesn't say. She swallows hard, then exhales. But I have other priorities now. Your father? I ask. Her silence is long. Not just him, she finally says. Then what? She doesn't answer. The question hovers, unanswered. I could press. I want to, but something tells me not to. Not yet. She's not hiding the truth out of malice, but out of protection. From something darker, bigger, maybe even dangerous. I lie still, heart heavy, thoughts spinning. There's more going on. I can feel it. She knows something about the Black Scorpion Guild, something she isn't ready to share. And I hate it. I hate not being able to help, not being strong enough to stand beside her when the storm hits. But if she's protecting me, if her silence is how she keeps me safe, then for now, I'll let her have it, even if it burns inside me. I sigh, resting my forehead against her collarbone. Whatever happens, I whisper, tightening my arms around her. Don't forget your promise, okay? Her hand brushes gently through my hair. I won't, she murmurs. And in the flickering candlelight, surrounded by fading warmth and unsaid truths, I allow myself to believe her. Whatever you do, I whisper, tightening my arms around her, burying my face in her warmth. Just don't forget your promise, okay? That's all I can say for now. Eris bends down, her lips brushing the crown of my head. The kiss lingers, gentle, grounding. I won't forget, she murmurs, her voice softer than the wind. No matter what happens, I'll always return to your side. A small, hollow laugh slips from my lips. Hee hee, that's good. But the sound betrays me. It's thin, strained, barely a laugh at all. Yes, Eris promised me. She promised she'd always come back. She said she'd never throw her life away. Because I'd be here, waiting. That promise is everything to me right now. It's the thread holding my fragile world together. But deep down, can I really trust it? Not because I doubt her, no, never that, but because the world is cruel, ruthless, like a tempest made of steel and teeth. A dungeon doesn't care about promises. It calls to her like a siren, whispering danger, begging her to dive deeper. And if she answers that call, what then? What can I do? How can I stop her from being taken away? I don't know. I'm not strong enough. Magic hurts me when I use it. I don't even understand what my magic is. And so, the more I love her, the more terrified I become. Eris, don't go. Don't leave me. I hold her tighter, my voice cracking, heart clenching like a vice, every breath a battle against tears. Don't leave me. Her hands gently lift my chin, brushing away the tears I failed to hide. Hey, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Her voice is laced with worry, her eyes searching mine. I hesitate. Nothing. But that's a lie. Something clicks inside me, a small, sharp spark. No more waiting. No more clinging to promises like a helpless child. If I want to stay beside her, then I have to change. I have to become stronger, strong enough to fight by her side, to walk through the jaws of a dungeon without flinching, to never be left behind again. Yes, it starts now. I grit my teeth. I am motivated. And so, chomp, I bite her. Ow. Eris yelps. Why'd you bite me? What did I do? Nothing. No reason. I yell back, eyes blazing. Chomp. Stop. Mercy. I said mercy. I snarl and cling to her like an over-caffeinated kitten, biting harder as she tries to wriggle away, her laughter bubbling up and wrapping around my heart like a warm blanket. All right, I've decided. I'll get stronger. But how? How do I start? Well, let's begin with the basics. Improve the body. Strengthen the mind. And first things first. Sleep. Good sleep. The enemy of gains is sleep deprivation. I curl up under the blanket like a determined burrito. All right. Good night. You're sleeping already. Eris pouts. If you stay up too late, you'll be tired tomorrow. Yoit. With a soft sigh, she pulls me closer, wrapping her arms around me from behind. A goodnight kiss on my shoulder seals the warmth between us. The room quiets. Safe. Soft. Peaceful. And before I know it, I'm out. Falling asleep in seconds? Catgirl genetics. They're awesome. The next morning, Eris, my scream pierces the cabin, ears flattened in full fury, tail puffed like a bottle brush. Why didn't you wake me up sooner? Eris blinks, entirely unbothered. I did try, but you mumbled something about 5 more minutes and rolled over like a log. GRR. I growl in outrage. Maximum disapproval. Everything had been planned. Perfectly. Wake early. Push-ups. Planks. Self-improvement montage. Get my catgirl gains. Instead, I slept until noon. Noon. Meanwhile, Eris had already. White heavy check mark, run 10 laps. White heavy check mark, finished her training. White heavy check mark, eaten like a champion. And me? I woke up grumpy. And worse, hungry. Deadly combo. All right, I'm sorry. Eris laughs, raising her hands. Next time I'll throw water on you or something. You better. I huff, crossing my arms. So, what's for breakfast or lunch? Eggs. Bacon. Faloin. Protein. What kind of meat is protein? She blinks. The most important kind. I declare. And off we go, feeling my transformation arc. Later, at the dining hall, I inhale meat like a starved beast. Catgirl perk. High protein metabolism. I excel at this. But then, you're not drinking your milkshake? Eris asks, one eyebrow raised. No, I shout. Focus. She tilts her head. And then, slurp. MMHH. Milkshake is heaven. She moans dramatically, tail swishing like she's performing for an audience. I twitch. Damn her. I want that milkshake. But I must resist. Carbs are the enemy. I bite into another Faloan leg like a warrior fueled by vengeance. Eris blinks. You're eating like you're preparing for war. I nod steely-eyed. Because I am. One day I'll be strong. One day I'll fight beside her. No more tears. No more being left behind. After our meal, we return the diamond tier key at the front desk and gear up. Eris adjusts her gear with ease. Ready. I nod, gripping my sword. And together, we step toward the unknown. To Lake Vanessa. To fate. To the future I'll carve with my own claws.
Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
From Vanessa Outpost, a well-trodden path winds its way toward the Vanessa dungeon cluster, carved into the earth by the countless footsteps of adventurers before us. It's not as smooth as a paved road, but it's firm, reliable, and easy to follow. After nearly 2 hours of steady walking, we finally reach the dungeon entrance location. Phew! I exhale sharply, my breath ragged, each gulp of air searing my lungs. Sweat clings to my skin, sticking to my clothes like I've just stepped out of a steaming bath. My legs burn, my muscles protest, but despite the exhaustion weighing down on me, I can't help but feel proud. Because compared to yesterday, I'm already stronger. I push myself harder. I didn't rely on Eris carrying me this time. Good job, Felicia. Meanwhile, Eris is Eris. Not a single drop of sweat mars her flawless skin. She stands tall, poised, perfectly composed, as if we just took a leisurely afternoon stroll instead of an exhausting 2-hour trek. Her breathing is steady, not even the slightest bit strained. It's unfair, really. Would you like to rest a bit? She asks, amusement lacing her voice. Yep, I gasp, barely able to string the word together before collapsing onto a nearby log. Eris chuckles, crossing her arms. Honestly, what's gotten into you today? You're so determined. I am. I huff, wiping the sweat from my forehead. Then gulp, gulp, gulp. I tilt my flask back and chug. Ice-cold water rushes down my throat in huge, desperate gulps. It's an enchanted flask, made with some cooling magic for keeping the water cold, crisp, and refreshing. The contrast against my overheated body is nothing short of divine. Pwah! I sigh in sheer bliss, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. Nothing beats ice-cold water after a brutal workout. But this is just the beginning. We still have to go inside the dungeon. And I know there's going to be way more walking, more pushing my limits. But no problem. I dig into my bag, rummaging for fuel, and pull out my protein bar. Well, not an actual protein bar, though. It's just a thick, hefty sausage made from spiced Faloan meat, nearly the size of my arm. But still, it's pure protein, pure muscle-building material. I tear into it with the ferocity of a starving beast, determined to fuel my body for what's ahead. Each bite is packed with savory richness, the flavors bursting on my tongue as I chew with single-minded focus. It's only been a few days since my reincarnation, but I've already gotten used to my new catgirl body. And in doing so, I've discovered that I'm now possessing a few very useful perks. Perk number 1, I can eat a lot. Like, a ridiculously a lot. Perk number 2, I fall asleep instantly and sleep deeply. Perk number 3, I'm way faster and have insane balance. Perk number 4, my eyesight is amazing and my sense of smell is pretty sharp too. And finally, perk number 5, my recovery speed is insanely fast. Honestly, now that I think about it, I totally get how Eris has trained her body to such perfection. With perks like these, it's optimal gym genetics. This girl eats tons of high-quality meat, sleeps like a log, and recovers ridiculously fast. That's basically the ultimate muscle-building combo right there. Therefore, I have to make use of my catgirl genetics as well. So if I can get 30 minutes rest and devour this protein bar, I think I can go for another 3 hours. Or maybe 4. All right, now that I take a moment to look around, I realize just how many people are gathered here. There must be at least 30 adventurers scattered across the clearing in groups of 3 to 5. Some stand in small huddles, murmuring strategies. Others sit on logs or crates, doing final gear checks, tightening straps, or adjusting weapons. It's not surprising. Vanessa Dungeon is the largest and richest dungeon cluster in the area. Inside, you can find hundreds of rare materials, exotic flowers, and valuable herbs. There are, of course, a lot of monsters too, though most of them are low-ranked. So, naturally, it draws adventurers like moths to a flame. Because of its popularity, the guild built a resting area right next to the entrance. Simple wooden benches line the space, while makeshift fire pits provide warmth to those who need it. A handful of merchants have set up temporary stalls, selling last-minute supplies, potions, enchanted trinkets, even extra layers of clothing. But if I have to guess, the price of those things they sell should be way higher than normal market price. That's why we prepare everything from home or from Vanessa Outpost. Now, to my left, a team murmurs among themselves, discussing their strategy for the day. Their voices rise and fall in an easy rhythm, punctuated by nods and the occasional chuckle. A little further away, another group is busy changing into their winter gear. One by one, they pull thick jackets, thick pants, sturdy leather boots, scarves, and woolen hats from their packs. The rustling of cold-resistant fabric fills the air as they layer up. Even the bare fur wren, a towering figure covered in a dense coat of fur, shrugs into a heavy winter coat. If he needs extra layers, yeah, Vanessa Dungeon is going to be freezing. But will it be as cold as Canada? Honestly, I'm kind of excited to find out. Beside me, Eris stretches, going through her usual warm-ups with casual ease. A slow roll of her shoulders, then a few dozen of quick one-arm push-ups. And then, after she finishes, she reaches into her bag and replenishes her energy with a sausage as well. Moments later, after 30 minutes of well-earned rest. All right, I sit up, grinning, feeling refreshed. Indeed, catgirl recovery is amazing. My muscles no longer sore, and I can feel energy surging inside my limbs. My body feels alive again. Catgirl's genetic bonsai. Eris, I'm ready. Let's go, I announces. Eris raises an eyebrow, clearly amused. Oh, you sure you don't need more rest? Nah, I shake my head vigorously. Let's go. We don't have all day. Eris chuckles. All right. She then reaches into her oversized backpack and pulls out our winter clothes. Thick, insulated gear built to withstand the dungeon's harsh chill. I receive them with a smile. Now it's time to suit up. Oh, you look amazing, Eris exclaims, her eyes lighting up as I finish adjusting the last piece of my winter gear. A fur-lined cloak drapes over my shoulders, its thick hood pulled up to shield me from the cold. My feet are snug inside heavy fur boots, and my hands disappear into thick, insulated gloves, soft yet sturdy enough to withstand the dungeon's harsh conditions. You look amazing too, I shoot back with a grin. Eris is dressed in the exact same set. The two of us now perfectly matched in layers of luxurious furs, crafted not just for warmth, but for style. Because why just survive when you can look incredible doing it? But this isn't ordinary winter gear. No, this is the best set money can rent from Vanessa Outpost. The most expensive, the most fashionable, and, most importantly, the most protective against the dungeon's merciless cold. Eris had mentioned earlier that the fur used in these clothes comes from the massive snow foxes of Vanessa Dungeon. And honestly, I feel a little guilty, because I love foxes. They're elegant, majestic, and ridiculously cute. The thought of them being hunted just so I could stay warm makes my heart ache just a little. But then, oh, my gods, this fur is too soft, so warm. If I had a blanket made from this, I could happily nap all day, even in the middle of a raging snowstorm. Oh, I'm so conflicted right now. Eris, blissfully unaware of my fox-related moral crisis, stretches her arms, rolling her shoulders as she shifts her weight from foot to foot. All right, ready? I shake off my guilt and straighten up. And in, with my fox dilemma temporarily pushed aside, we step forward, making our way toward the dungeon entrance. The dungeon entrance looms before us, an eerie, otherworldly spectacle that looks exactly like the gates I had seen in countless manhwa back on Earth. A rift in space, vast and imposing, as though reality itself had been torn apart, its jagged edges fraying into nothingness. It hangs suspended, seamlessly bridging two separate worlds, a threshold between the familiar and the unknown. And this rift, it glows, pulsing with a brilliant, mesmerizing blue, its shimmering light rippling outward like gentle waves on a still lake. The glow is not constant. It flares, dims, and flares again, as though the gate itself is alive, breathing in slow, steady rhythms. The air around it hums, sending faint tingles across my skin. Eris steps beside me. As you can see, the color of the gate can tell you the rank of the dungeon, Eris explains. Lower-rank dungeon gates tend to be brighter, like this one. The higher the rank, the darker and more ominous the color becomes. Some S-rank dungeons have gates that are deep blue, even blood red. There's even one that's rumored to be almost pure black. Whoa! I breathe, utterly fascinated. Just as I'm about to take a step forward, a thought pops into my mind. What about the gate that connects Terra and Fawny? What color is that? Yes, what color is the gate that connects the human world and the Furran world? I think it's the same as this one, she replies. A bright color. Huh? How come? My thoughts race. I'm confused. Does that mean Terra is an E-rank dungeon? Or is Fawny an E-rank dungeon? What? That doesn't make any sense, though. Eris chuckles softly, reaching out to pat my head with a knowing smile. Nope. Actually, the color of a gate is determined by the mana concentration and attributes of the area surrounding it. On the other side, she gestures toward the rift. So, from Terra looking into Fawny, the gate appears bright orange. But from Fawny looking into Terra, it's bright green. My eyes widen. That makes so much more sense. So that means the color of a gate doesn't always reflect the true rank of a dungeon, right? Eris grins and nods approvingly. Smart Felicia. She places her hands on her hips, looking pleased. That's correct. In most cases, it does. But sometimes, it can be very misleading. Yeah, I gulp, my mind drifting to the possibilities. A dungeon entrance with low mana concentration might appear harmless at first glance. But deeper inside, the mana could spike dramatically, creating pockets of immense danger hidden beyond the initial threshold. Eris must notice the change in my expression, because her tone grows slightly more serious. That's why dungeon exploration is crucial, and why we always have to be prepared, even for dungeons that seem harmless at first glance. I nod, letting her words sink in. She then smiles, breaking the tension. All right, let's go. I shake off my thoughts and straighten. And in. We then make our way toward the dungeon guards, Adventurers Guild staff stationed here to oversee and regulate dungeon access. They check our IDs briefly, their eyes scanning the documents before giving us a curt nod. All good. You may enter. Thanks, Eris replies with a polite smile. Meanwhile, curiosity gets the better of me. I take off my gloves, stepping closer to the dungeon gate, breath catching as I lift my hand, hovering just inches from its radiant surface. And then, holy shit, Yua, Eris, this is so cool. Zap, zap, zap. Static charges snap between my fingers and the gate, tiny arcs of energy dancing across my skin, sending tingling waves up my arm. My hair suddenly stands on end, the air crackling with invisible energy, as if the gate itself is reacting to my presence. It's like touching one of those weird electric globes, the kind that makes your hair puff up like a startled porcupine. I turn to look at Eris, my face lit up with pure excitement. She watches me for a moment, then snickers. All right, put your gloves on, and let's go. And in. I quickly pull my gloves back on. Eris holds out her hand. I take it. Then, drawing in a deep, steady breath, we step forward together and cross into the winter expanse of Vanessa Dungeon, walking through a dimensional gate that leads to a dungeon. What does it feel like? Well, it's like passing through a thin, electric membrane that sends tiny, tingling waves across my skin. A weird static shiver crawls over me, and for a brief moment, my ears pop like when a plane suddenly ascends. Then, I take my first full step into Vanessa Dungeon, and my brain breaks. What? I practically scream as my eyes widen, my breath stolen away by the sheer beauty in front of me. Because this place, it's breathtaking. It's like stepping into a living painting, a vast winter wonderland straight out of a fairy tale. Towering frost-covered trees stretch endlessly into the distance, their branches laden with thick layers of pristine snow, glistening like sugar-coated crystal. Some trees are massive, their ice-kissed leaves glowing faintly, as if infused with magic. Gentle gusts of wind pass through them, sending delicate snowflakes swirling in lazy spirals before they settle softly onto the untouched ground. The air is crisp and sharp, biting against my exposed skin, but not in an unpleasant way. It's a kind of cold that wakes you up, making you feel alive, invigorated. I take a step forward and sink slightly into the fluffy snow, its powdery texture soft yet firm, compressing beneath my boots with a satisfying crunch. As I exhale, my breath turns to a thin mist, curling upward before vanishing into the freezing air. This feeling, this sensation, it's exactly like Canada. My heart is dancing with nostalgia right now. The endless white landscape, the cold but refreshing air, the way the sunlight bounces off the snow, almost too bright, it's all so familiar. If someone blindfolded me and dropped me here, I'd swear I was back in some remote, untouched part of the Canadian wilderness. But that's not the only thing that blows my mind. I blink, tilting my face upward. The sunlight shines down onto my skin, bright and golden, reflecting off the snow so intensely that I have to squint. Wait, sunlight. I tug on Eris's arm. Eris, something isn't right. Why is the sun so bright? She tilts her head, amused. What do you mean? I frown. When we arrived at the dungeon entrance, it was already late afternoon, isn't it? Right? Given just a couple more hours, it would have been sunset. But here, it's like morning. Everything is so bright and lively. Eris smiles, patting my head. Good observation, Felicia. I turn, still have no idea what's going on. Well, Eris begins. That's because time flows differently here. Day and night are flipped between this world and ours. That's why we started in the afternoon. Yoo-hoo! My mouth drops open in amazement. Back at the entrance, I had doubted a little bit if it's a good idea to go into the dungeon so late. But since Eris is an experienced adventurer, I was sure she had her own reason. But now, everything makes sense. Indeed, it's literally all according to Eris's plan. Still, a completely different time system, just by stepping through a gate. It's like being in China 1 second, and then the USA the next. Except instead of changing countries, I just stepped into a completely different world. Amazing. And not only that, Eris adds, a full day in here lasts a whopping 72 hours. so we'll have plenty of time to explore. I nearly choke on my own spit. Wait, 48 hours? What? Yeah. Eris nods like it's the most normal thing in the world. Wow. Not only is time flipped, but the days here are literally triple what they are in our world. That's even better than I imagined. Now, I'm super excited. I tilt my head, curiosity kicking in. So, does every dungeon have its own time system like this? Eris shrugs. More or less. Some dungeons follow a 72-hour cycle, some 48, some are only 12. And then, there are the weird ones. Huh? I tilt my head. Weird ones? Yeah, she nods. Some dungeons are in perpetual daylight. The sun never sets. Others are trapped in eternal night, where the sky is always dark. What? A world where the sun never sets? A world where it's always night? I can barely wrap my head around it. The sheer absurdity and wonder of it all makes my thoughts race. And yet, I want to see them all. Holy shit, this is insane. This is amazing. This is exactly why I wanted to be an adventurer. Excitement thrums through my veins, making my hands clench into fists. My entire body buzzes with anticipation. Let's go. I can't wait to explore already. A few minutes later, okay, now let me see the map. Eris swings her bag around and pulls out a large, folded parchment. We unfurl it together, spreading it out across a flat, snow-dusted rock. She taps a marked point on the map, an orange gate icon near the bottom. All right, we are here. Vanessa Dungeon, Zone A. This is our gateway back to our world. I nod, following along. So far, so good. Then Eris's finger trails up, tracing a path along the map. To reach Lake Vanessa, her finger slides further, way further, until it stops near the peak of a faraway mountain. We need to cross another gate. It's up there, on top of that mountain. As she speaks, she turns and points toward the distant peak. I follow her gaze. And then, Chato-mat. Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. I gulp as my stomach drops. Eris, my voice comes out weak, trembling. Why, you don't mean we have to walk all the way there, right? Eris turns to me with a smirk, tilting her head slightly. What? You tired of walking already? I stare at her, then at the mountain, then back at her. But it'll take a whole day just to get there. Actually, no, even weeks. I mean, if it's Eris, she could probably cover that distance in a couple hours. No problem for sure. But me? Absolutely impossible. I would die long before I reach that gateway. But for some reason, Eris doesn't seem to bother. She folds the map back up and adjusts her gear. Come on, let's get moving. Time is precious. AHHHH. I wail, feeling my soul leave my body. I glance back at the mountain. The peak looms in the distance, its snow-covered slopes stretching endlessly, mocking me with its sheer impossibility. I swallow hard. Come on. Eris calls out, already a few steps ahead. She glances back at me, her expression expectant. All right, taking a deep breath, I tighten my cloak, square my shoulders, and take my first step forward. I trust Eris, no matter how ridiculous her plans might be. Step, step, step. I follow in Eris's footsteps, playing a little game with myself as we trek through the snow. Each time she leaves a fresh imprint, I try my best to step perfectly into it, matching her stride exactly. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's weirdly fun. It kind of reminds me of cats, the way they move so fluidly, their hind paws landing perfectly where their front paws just were, minimizing noise, maximizing balance. Efficient, precise, elegant. And since I'm a catgirl now, I'm naturally really good at this. Also, I noticed that Eris's footprints are slightly bigger than mine. Not that I have a foot fetish or anything, but for some reason, this feels like good information to know. Hee. Just as I'm mentally noting this crucial discovery, boop, I slam right into Eris's back. Wah! She had stopped walking, and I was too distracted looking down to notice. I stumble backward, flailing, the world tilting sharply as I nearly fall flat on my ass. But before my body can hit the snow, a strong arm catches me. Are you okay? Eris's voice is smooth and steady, her arm wrapped around my waist, holding me up effortlessly. My cheeks burn as I find myself staring right in her eyes, cool, blue, and breathtakingly beautiful. Oh shit, we're already lovers. We've done way more intense things than this. We've had crazy sex. But still, moments like this make my heart flutter. I am okay. I squeak, feeling my ears heat up. Eris giggles softly, then tilts me upright, setting me back on my feet with an amused glint in her eyes. But as my mind returns to normal, why do we stop? I ask, looking around. We're still in the middle of a vast, frozen forest, surrounded by tall, ice-covered trees and untouched snow. The landscape is pristine, silent, endless. No landmarks, no buildings, nothing but pure winter beauty. And we're not even 0.00001% closer to that insanely far mountain. I squint at Eris suspiciously. She smirks, then boops my cold nose playfully. Silly Felicia, you didn't actually believe I was going to make you walk all the way up the mountain, did you? I freeze. My ears twitch violently. What do you mean? Eris just chuckles knowingly and reaches for her belt pouch. With a flick of her wrist, she pulls out 2 small vials. Each one contains a bright, shimmering blue liquid. She hands one to me. Here, take this. I accept the tiny vial, raising it to my eyes for a closer look. The liquid inside is bubbling faintly, tiny ripples of arcane energy shifting within, as though the potion itself is alive. It kind of reminds me of an energy drink from Earth. But there's also something else, a faint sparkle like there's glitter swirling inside. Eris, what is this? I ask curiously, eyeing the shimmering liquid in my vial. Eris has already downed hers in one swift gulp. Pwah! She shivers violently, her entire face scrunching up in absolute disgust. BRR. That's horrible. I watch in mild horror as she hugs herself, shaking off the aftertaste like she just swallowed liquid despair. Okay, not reassuring. Cautiously, I uncork my own vial and take a small, experimental sniff. Oh, it smells nice. A soft floral scent drifts up, warm and comforting, sweet like roses, but with a sharp, almost spicy undertone, something between cinnamon and cloves. I blink in surprise. It actually smells pretty good. Eris, still grimacing, lets out a weak chuckle. Yeah, it smells nice, but the taste is horrible. She waves a hand at me. Anyway, just drink it up. I hesitate. Okay. Taking a deep breath, I tilt the vial to my lips. And the moment the liquid touches my tongue, PPPFFFFTTD. Blarg, what the hell is this? It's so bitter. Not just bitter, spicy too. Like someone took pure suffering, boiled it in liquid regret, and then set the whole thing on fire for good measure. I gag violently, my tail bristling in alarm as I flail dramatically. Eyes watering, I turn to Eris with pure betrayal. Oh, Eris, do I really have to drink this? Eris casually takes a sip of her water, completely unaffected by my misery. Well, of course, unless you want to freeze your ass off on that mountain. I squint at her, suspicious but intrigued. What even is this? She twirls the empty vial between her fingers. A potion brewed from glacier blooms. It boosts your frost resistance and shields you from the cold. I blink. But don't I already have protection? I hold out my arms, gesturing to my ultra-high-quality, absurdly expensive, fur-lined winter gear. Do I really need this potion? Eris nods firmly. Yes, you need both. The clothes help a lot, but they won't be enough. I gulp. All right, if you say so. Bracing myself, I tilt my head back and chug the rest in one go. The second wave of horror hits instantly. Blurgig. Yuth. I nearly throw up on the spot, my entire body convulsing in protest. I claw at my tongue. PPPPFFFTTT. PFFFFTTT. Eris, the flavor won't go away. Eris just laughs at my suffering. Here, have some water. It helps. She hands me her bottle, and I snatch it like my life depends on it, chugging the cool liquid as fast as humanly possible. Pwah! Thank God! I wheeze, my soul slowly returning to my body. Phew, that was nasty. Eris grins, looking way too pleased with herself. Good girl. That went better than my first time drinking it. I glare at her deadpan. Yeah, well, IT was horrible. She just laughs, and despite myself, I start laughing too. A few seconds later, before our laughter completely dies down, Eris suddenly straightens. Now then, she says with a commanding voice. I think this is good enough. You can come out now. I freeze mid-breath. You? Come out? I blink, my brain scrambling. Who the heck is she talking to? There's literally no one else here but me and her. But before I can even ask, Eris's eyes begin to glow a brilliant, pulsating purple. The pendant around her neck levitates, lifting gently from her chest, its silver chains rattling softly in the still air. A faint hum resonates through the clearing, making the snow vibrate beneath my feet. And then, a puffy wisp of black smoke emerges from the pendant. It shoots upward, swirling like a playful shadow, stretching and shifting, reshaping itself. Two cat-like ears sprout from the darkness. Then, two big, round eyes blink into existence. And finally, a tiny, adorable mouth forms. For a second, the creature hovers midair, its form settling into place, pulsing with mysterious energy. And then, Naya, the smoke-wisp creature roars cutely. Yoo-hoo! I gasp, my heart practically dying from the sheer cuteness overload. I clutch my chest, nearly collapsing on the spot. Eris, what is this? It's so adorable. The tiny, fluffy black cloud hovers in front of me, its body perfectly shaped like a small, cartoonish cat, round and puffy, like a floating marshmallow made of pure darkness. And it's so unbelievably adorable, I can barely handle it. The moment it notices me, it suddenly zooms forward, its wispy form gliding effortlessly through the air. Like a curious little spirit satellite, it begins to circle me in slow, lazy loops, once, twice, 3 times, drifting around me as if it's inspecting this strange new creature in its territory. I stand perfectly still, watching in silent fascination as it continues its playful orbit. Then, unable to resist any longer, I take off my glove, hesitantly raise my hand, reaching out. And the moment my fingertips come close, it nuzzles into my palm. A soft purr vibrates through its tiny body, a gentle, soothing hum that sends warmth straight to my chest. Hey! My heart completely melts at the sensation. It's like touching a warm cotton ball, light as air, soft as silk, but with a faint static tingle, as if I'm running my fingers through a cloud of magic. I want to squeeze it, hug it, keep it forever. Oh, I can't believe it. Felicia, he likes you already, Eris says, amusement lacing her voice. And in, I nod quickly, completely captivated by the tiny creature. As I stroke its fluff again, it presses harder against my palm, its purring growing even louder, a sound so gentle and rhythmic, I could listen to it forever. But then, wait, what exactly is this thing? I blink, suddenly snapping out of my cute-induced trance. But what is it? I ask, still petting the mysterious little puffball. Eris smiles knowingly. It's my pet spirit. My eyes widen. Ooh, a pet spirit? I glance between Eris and the tiny floating cat cloud, my brain racing. That sounds so cool. Felicia, this is Inky. Eris gestures toward the small spirit. Then she turns toward Inky. And Inky, this is Felicia. Inky stops, circling me, and bobs up and down, as if acknowledging me. Inky. I grin. That's such a cute name. And it fits perfectly, too. His tiny, wispy form is as dark as ink, swirling like a living shadow. But what exactly is a pet spirit? Now I'm even more curious. He's a spirit I formed a contract with a few years ago, Eris explains. He lives inside my pendant and feeds on my darkness attribute mana. Yoo! I practically explode with excitement. That's so cool. Now that I've seen a spirit this cute in person, I want one too. Wait, a thought hits me like lightning. Eris, my mana is darkness too. Can I feed Inky too? Eris chuckles, tilting her head slightly. Well, it's already feeding on you now. Wait, what? Feeding on me? At Eris's words, I quickly glanced down at my hand, and holy shit, Inky is already latched onto my finger. Its tiny, misty mouth is suckling on my fingertip, little wisps of black smoke swirling hungrily around its body, now with some additional shade of crimson red. Honestly, I can't believe it. This cute little thing, since when it began feeding on me like this. I can barely feel anything, but suddenly, my vision wobbles. Shit. The world tilts sideways as a wave of dizziness rushes over me. Come on, Inky, don't drain Felicia too much. She doesn't have a lot of mana. Eris scolds, her tone half stern, half amused. At her words, Inky pops off my finger and lets out a tiny, apologetic-sounding ah. Then, it blows out a soft puff of blackish-red smoke, sending it back into my finger. Immediately, my head clears. The dizziness fades, my body feels steady again, and warmth returns to my limbs. Whoa, thanks, Inky. I blink, brushing my finger against its fluff. And I'm sorry. I'm not very nutritious, am I? Eris snickers. Well, at least he finds you delicious, too. She lifts her hand, and with a small, graceful motion, Inky instantly responds, floating back toward her. It perches neatly on her outstretched index finger, its tiny form hovering weightlessly like a catbird. Eris then turns back to me, eyes glinting mischievously. All right, she announces, Inky here will help us get to the top of the mountain. Oh, that's amazing. I beam, but then I pause. Wait, I squint at the tiny tennis ball-sized fluff of smoke. Wait, how? Does it have teleportation magic or something? Or some kind of instant travel spell? How the heck can this tiny little fella get both of us up a mountain? Eris just chuckles knowingly, then tilts her head toward Inky. All right, do your thing, she commands. Inky suddenly floats higher, its small, puffy body trembling as if it's gathering power. And then, it begins to glow. A deep, black light pulses from within, spreading out like rippling shadows, expanding and swelling as if something massive is pushing from inside. The air grows thick, humming with a strange arcane pressure. And then, holy shit, the tiny puffball of cuteness is no more. Because in its place, a massive, towering figure looms over me, blocking out the light. My mouth drops open as my entire body freezes. The once small, harmless fluff of black smoke has now transformed into a massive, terrifying, pitch-black dragon. Didi Dragongun? I shriek, stumbling backward. Its shadow swallows me whole, its sheer size overwhelming. What was once a tiny, floating wisp is now a massive beast, its body easily the size of a house, its wings spanning over 10 meters, stretching wide like a cloak of pure darkness. Its eyes are now piercing, glowing like blazing blue flames, staring down at me. Two majestic horns curve back from its massive head, crackling with dark energy, and its body radiates a thick, swirling mist. I can barely breathe. My heart hammers violently against my ribs. I try to speak, but all that comes out is a sputtered. Eris? What? This is the same cute fluffball from before. I glance between the enormous, smoke-wreathed dragon and Eris, who's now looking so tiny just by standing next to it, my brain short-circuiting. How? How does this even make sense? Inky, now a fearsome, towering wyvern, lowers its massive head toward me. Then, it boops my forehead, gently, with the same softness as when it was a tiny, floating puffball. I die. Eris laughs, placing a hand on the creature's side. Not a dragon, silly, she corrects, running her fingers along its sleek, shadowy form. It's a shadow wyvern. Dragons have separate arms and wings, and they're at least 5 times bigger. Oh, I nod, still breathless in amazement. True. Now that I look closer, Inky only has 2 massive hind legs, while its front limbs are fused into its giant wings, like a wyvern rather than a full-fledged dragon. But still, it looks hella badass. All right, Inky, would you mind taking us for a ride to the mountain, please? Eris asks warmly. At her words, Inky rumbles softly, then nuzzles his massive snout into her palms, his long, shadowy tail wagging like an overgrown, lovable dog. Wait, I stammer. You mean we're gonna ride on Inky? Yeah, Eris says with an easy grin. Unless, of course, you'd rather walk up the mountain. No, no more walking. I blur out instantly, my excitement bubbling over like a shaken soda can. Oh my God. My heart is literally racing right now. Imagine soaring high above the clouds, feeling the icy wind whipping through my hair, flying with Eris on the back of a giant shadow wyvern. Holy shit, this is gonna be so sick. Inky lowers his massive body, folding his wings down until they touch the ground, forming a ramp for me to walk on. Aw, thanks, Inky, I say, grinning brightly. The wyvern lets out a deep, rumbling purr, vibrating through the air like distant thunder. Eris steps onto the wing first, moving with ease before turning back to me, her hand outstretched. All right, take my hand, she says smoothly, her voice carrying over the wind. And in, I nod, placing my hand in hers. Her grip is firm yet gentle, steadying me. And then, I take my first step. My foot sinks slightly into Inky's wing, but miraculously, the shadow beneath me solidifies, supporting my weight perfectly. It's like stepping onto a cloud made of stone, soft and shifting at the edges, yet completely firm where I need it to be. Wait, how does that even work? I have no freaking idea. It's magic. Slowly, carefully, Eris guides me up onto Inky's back, never letting go of my hand. Each step feels like walking on magic itself, like reality is bending just a little to accommodate my presence. Once I reach the top, she helps me settle into position, ensuring I'm steady before she slides into place in front of me. Her back is right against my chest, and even through our thick winter gear, I can feel her warmth. Then, all right, Inky, get ready. Eris taps the wyvern lightly on his back. She turns her head slightly, glancing at me from the corner of her eye. And Felicia? I blink, my tail twitching. Why, yeah. Eris smirks. Hold on tight. Oh, right. Without hesitation, I wrap my arms tightly around Eris's waist, clutching onto her like my life depends on it. Which, honestly, it might. A deep rumble vibrates through Inky's massive body as he shifts his stance, preparing for takeoff. Then, he rises. Whoa. He hasn't even taken off yet, but the sheer height change from his crouching stance to full standing position sends my heart slamming against my ribs. The ground feels so far away now, and my body instinctively tightens, pressing myself flush against Eris's back. A small whimper escapes my lips as I clutch her even tighter. Felicia, you good? Eris asks, amusement dancing in her voice. I gulp. I think so. I stammer, even though my body is shaking like a leaf in a storm. To be honest, this is already pretty freaking terrifying. But at the same time, my adrenaline is pumping. I can feel my pulse racing, the sheer thrill of what's about to happen bubbling up inside me. Eris nods knowingly. Okay, she says. Then Inky, let's go. Inky exhales a deep breath, releasing a billowing stream of black smoke from his nostrils. The air grows heavier, charged with a thrumming energy. Then, whoosh, a single, mighty flap of Inky's massive wings sends a powerful gust of wind ripping across the clearing, kicking up a storm of snow and loose ice. Whoosh, a second flap, the air around us whipping wildly, pulling upward with a force that makes my stomach lurch. Then, with one final whoosh, Inky jumps and launches himself skyward like a freaking rocket. Ay! I scream like mad as the world drops away beneath us. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. The force of acceleration slams me back, my stomach lurching as we shoot upward at terrifying speed. I cling to Eris for dear life, squeezing my arms around her waist so tight I might as well be a second belt. Meanwhile, Eris just laughs, completely unbothered by my panic. A few seconds later, I hear her voice, soft and steady, calling my name. We're flying now, Felicia. Open your eyes. Huh? Cautiously, I crack my eyes open, hesitating, bracing myself, and then my breath catches in my throat. Whoa! We are high above the world now, soaring through the sky like a falling star in reverse. Below us, an endless sea of clouds stretches out, soft and billowing, their edges tinged gold by the sun. The light filters through the sky, warm and golden, painting everything in hues so brilliant they almost don't feel real. The wind rushes past, cool and crisp, tugging at my hair. Yet, thanks to the cold resistance potion, the chill doesn't bite. It simply feels fresh, exhilarating. Up here, the air is light, pure, and invigorating. Meanwhile, Inky's powerful wings beat steadily, each stroke sending a gentle push of air beneath us, keeping us floating effortlessly. Ay, this is amazing. Awe fills my voice as I take in the endless expanse of sky stretching all around us. The feeling of weightlessness, of pure freedom, is unlike anything I've ever experienced. But then, I make the mistake of looking down. And, holy shit, we're so damn high. So freaking high. It's like standing on top of a 100-story skyscraper, looking straight down, except worse. Because there's no floor beneath us. No guardrails. No safety net. Just open air and the dizzying drop to the world far, far below. A violent shudder runs through my body. My tail fluffs up to max volume. My ears flatten against my head, and my grip on Eris tightens tenfold. I press myself flush against her back, desperate for any sense of stability. Eris, I mutter, my voice trembling. Please don't let me fall. Eris chuckles softly, completely unbothered by the vast, terrifying emptiness around us. Her hands find mine, squeezing gently. Don't worry, I won't, she promises. Somehow, just hearing her say that, feeling the steady strength in her hands, makes it easier to breathe. The fear is still there, coiling in my stomach, but I feel safer. It feels amazing, doesn't it? Eris murmurs, her voice filled with awe, her eyes gazing at the vast sky before us. Being this high, with absolute freedom. Looking down at the world with a bird's-eye view. I take a shaky breath, then another. In. She's right. In. I nod, slowly adjusting to the surreal experience. It's terrifying, yes, but breathtakingly amazing, too. That's undeniable. Up here, nothing obstructs us. Just Eris, me, and Inky, soaring through an endless sky, surrounded by the sun, the clouds, and the twinkling stars waiting beyond. For a moment, it's as if the whole world has disappeared. It's just us and infinity. And then, Eris suddenly raises her hand toward the sky, fingers stretching as if reaching for something unseen. You know, one day, she says dreamily, if possible, I'd love to fly so high that I reach the stars. I tilt my head, intrigued. The stars. Eris nods, her gaze filled with wonder. Aren't you curious about them? Those twinkling, shining places in the sky. There must be gemstones and riches up there, right? I blink. Well, based on my Earth knowledge, stars are just massive balls of hot gas. I'd probably vaporize before I even got close to one. But this is a fantasy world. The rules of Earth's reality don't apply here. So, who knows what's waiting among the stars? Eris's voice softens. Hee, or maybe on every star there's a crystal palace? A shining castle where the gods live. I giggle, nudging her playfully. Eris, your imagination is amazing. She suddenly gasps, eyes widening with excitement. Oh, or maybe every star is a different world, and your world is one of them. I freeze. Ayo, that's a really good theory. Could Earth be one of those distant stars? And if that's true, then one day could I bring Eris there? Show her the wonders of my previous world? Let her experience everything I once knew. The towering skyscrapers, the dazzling city lights, the bustling streets filled with strange, exciting technology she's never seen before, and not to mention the amazing manga and anime. The thought sends a thrill through my chest. Oh my, that would be incredible. Yeah, maybe. I breathe, suddenly feeling hopeful, dreamy, like the universe just got a little bigger, a little more possible. Eris grins, but then tilts her head slightly, the excitement in her gaze softening into something more focused, determined. Okay, are you feeling better now? How about we start moving? I shake off my thoughts and nod firmly. And in. Let's go. Eris raises her hand, giving Inky the signal. And with a deep, rumbling exhale, the massive wyvern tilts his wings. And we soar forward. The mountaintop looms ahead, its towering snowy peak growing sharper and clearer, bathed in the soft, golden glow of the morning sun. The wind blows past us, cool and refreshing, carrying the crisp scent of snow and open skies. I press myself closer against Eris, wrapping my arms snugly around her waist, my head resting gently on her shoulder. I close my eyes, content. A small smile spreads across my lips. This is nice. There's nothing that beats soaring high through the sky, the world stretching endlessly below, while I hold on my catgirl lover, feeling her warmth against me. The mountaintop inches closer and closer, its snowy peak gleaming under the sunlight. Inky could probably fly much faster, but I can tell he's slowing down for my sake. And I appreciate it. Regardless, we'll be there soon. And I can't wait to see Lake Vanessa. But then, a sudden realization hits me. Wait, Eris. I blurt out. The reason you made me walk earlier, was it to get away from people? Eris chuckles, her shoulders shaking slightly with amusement. Oh, she tilts her head back slightly, her ears flicking. Yep, I had to wait until no one else was around before summoning Inky. Oh, at first, I thought she was just messing with me. But no, she was being cautious. It all makes sense now. Eris is using a fake ID, meaning she's trying her best to conceal her true identity. If we had summoned Inky back at the dungeon entrance, with all those adventurers wandering around, it would have drawn way too much attention. And that would be very, very bad for Eris. My ears twitch, my tail flicking thoughtfully. But will it really be okay? Won't people see Inky flying in the sky? Eris shakes her head, her voice calm and assured. You don't have to worry about that. Once we're high enough, above the clouds, it'll be hard to spot us. From below, Inky's body will just look like a big, wyvern-shaped black cloud. She pauses, smirking. Besides, wyverns are actually pretty common as mount pets. It'd only be a problem if someone saw Inky's true form. I blink. I see. Damn, Eris really is careful. Eris, you're always thinking ahead, huh? I murmur, admiration creeping into my voice. She hums. Well, I have to. Her voice is light, but there's something deeper beneath it. Oh, wait. A truth she's not saying out loud. The reason why she has to hide her identity. I want to ask. I really want to ask. But I don't know if I should. The thought lingers in my mind like a shadow, and I bite my lip, hesitating. Then, I take a deep breath and gather my courage. Eris, I murmur. See, can I ask you another question? Eris tilts her head slightly. Heh, of course. I swallow. What's your real name? The question hangs between us, carried away by the rushing wind. Eris doesn't answer right away. Instead, silence. The kind that feels heavy, like standing at the edge of a precipice, waiting for something unknown to reveal itself. I bite my lip harder. Damn it, Felicia, you screwed up again. It's probably too soon to ask. I shouldn't have pried. A pang of guilt coils in my chest, and my arms tighten slightly around Eris, as if trying to silently apologize. But then, Eris speaks. You really want to know? My ears perk up. I blink, my heart skipping. See, can I? I fumble quickly. I mean, if you don't want to, then... Eris exhales softly then. She answers. Ereskia. A pause. Then, she continues. Ereskia Vivian Night Whiskers. That's my true name. Ereskia Vivian Night Whiskers. I repeat the name a couple of times, rolling it over my tongue like I'm trying to memorize an ancient spell. Holy shit, that's a super beautiful name. wait. I suddenly yell into the rushing wind, my voice almost getting carried away into the sky. You're from Xerac. Why the heck is that last name so cool? I mean, Eris's fake name is cool too. Eris Wildfang. Meanwhile me, Felicia Flufftail. Flufftail, what the hell? I swear, I can hear the mocking echo of my own last name taunting me. Flufftail, Flufftail, Flufftail. Who the hell approved this? Behind me, Eris bursts into laughter, her entire body shaking with amusement. Pfft, I'm sorry, Felicia. She giggles, holding her stomach like she might actually fall off. We were just messing with you. We didn't think you'd instantly select that name. I feel my entire soul leave my body. Eris, I scream in pure embarrassment, my face heating up to dangerous levels. Oh, she's gonna pay for this. With my hands now firmly on Eris, it's time for revenge. Eris payback technique, first move. Felicia tickle attack. Hey. Stop. Eris shrieks, squirming violently as I relentlessly tickle her sides. But like how I'm letting her get away this time. Hey, but at least it's cute. It's cute, right? Ha ha ha. Flufftail, that's a very cute name. No, it's not. I growl, increasing my tickling intensity. Eris, I'm gonna make you pay. All right. I'm sorry. Eris yelps, kicking her legs as she tries to escape. Stop. Don't tickle me anymore. We're gonna fall. No, we're not. I huff. You're not controlling Inky manually. Don't think you can fool me this time. Huh. Yeah, all right. But before I can react, Eris suddenly spins around, grabs my wrists, and pins me down against Inky's back. What just happened? I blink up at her, momentarily dazed. Eris smirks down at me, her face so close that I can see the mischief twinkling in her eyes. She hums, her voice teasingly low. Naughty Felicia, did you really think you could bully me? I pout hard, my cheeks puffing up like an angry cat. But you tricked me first. You have to pay the price. Eris tilts her head, pretending to think. Oh, and what does Miss Flufftail want as compensation? I furrow my brows, thinking hard. Compensation, huh? What do I want Eris to do for me now? Maybe a kiss? Nah, that's too little. I want more. 2 kisses? No, 10. Then give me 10. But before I can finish my demand, Eris leans down and kisses me. A deep, heart-melting kiss, her lips so soft but so cold, stealing the rest of my words away. My entire body squirms beneath her, a sweet, dizzy warmth spreading through me, making my head spin. By the time she finally pulls away, I'm left breathless, my lungs desperate for air. I stare up at her, dazed, disoriented, my heart racing like crazy. It's still not enough. I murmur weakly, pouting, but my cheeks now completely burning. Eris stares at me, her piercing blue eyes holding me captive. In their reflection, I see my own wide-eyed expression, my mind scrambling to figure out what the heck she's thinking right now. Then, a slow, mischievous smirk spreads across her lips. Oh no! She leans in, her breath warm against my ear, her voice low, teasing, and far too dangerous for my sanity. All right, she whispers, drawing out each syllable with infuriating slowness. If you like my family name that much, want to change into it. Then, Felicia, a pause, a deliberate, torturous pause. Then she purrs, Night, Whiskers. Holy shit, as she did not just say that. I shove her back with pure survival instinct. My whole body shivers, my heart slams against my ribs, my face burning hotter than the sun itself. I cover my face with my arm, believing I'm now looking like a red pepper. Eris, holy shit. She want me to change my last name to her? That means Marigi? Eris tilts her head, pretending to be deep in thought, her smirk only growing. What? Is it not good enough? She taps her chin, feigning serious contemplation before flashing me a playful grin. How about my middle name too? Felicia Vivian Night Whiskers. Her giggle is soft, dangerous, like a hunter toying with its prey. I am not surviving this. And now that I think about it, Flufftail is fine. I blurt out, nearly combusting on the spot. Eris laughs, clearly enjoying every second of my suffering. I see, she hums, amusement dripping from her voice. Well then, whenever you want to change it, just let me know, okay? Then, she winks. Ick. A tiny, involuntary squeal escapes me as goosebumps explode across my skin. I swear, if my tail puffs up one more time today, I'm going to die. Eris just chuckles, then turns back around like she didn't just casually drop a marriage proposal on me mid-flight. She reaches back, grabbing my arms gently, guiding them around her waist again. All right, hold on tight now, if you don't want to fall. Still frazzled, I instinctively tighten my hold, burying my face into her back, try to regain my sanity. But even as my heart settles, my lips keep twitching into a ridiculous grin. I can't stop. I physically cannot stop smiling. And now that I actually think about it, Felicia Vivienne Night Whiskers. That sounds absolutely amazing. Oh, we're almost there. The mountain looms closer than ever, its towering snow-covered peak dominating the sky. From this height, I can see everything. The trees, their branches weighed down by thick layers of frost, the rocky slopes, the winding paths weaving their way up toward the summit. But more than that, I can see life. Animals. White foxes dart across the snow, their fluffy tails flicking playfully as they chase each other in delighted circles. A group of large, white-furred apes sits outside a cave, huddled together in a tight cluster, grooming one another, their warm breath forming soft, misty clouds in the frigid air. Further ahead, I spot a tiger, its powerful body arching into a luxurious stretch, its muscles rippling beneath its thick winter coat. Nearby, another tiger naps peacefully, curled up in the sun, its fur glowing under the light. And then I see something else. Not just animals. Monsters. A towering snow golem trudges along a well-worn path, its massive, stone-like limbs coated in layers of ice, each step leaving deep imprints in the snow. It moves without a care, its heavy arms swinging loosely, knocking down trees as if they were mere twigs in its way. I blink, my ears twitching. Wait a minute. Eris, why are there so many animals here, but we didn't see any when we first entered the dungeon? Eris chuckles softly, her tail flicking in amusement. Good question. She gestures toward the mountain below us. First, because this area is separate from the dungeon's entrance, it's considered a D-rank zone. That means it has a higher concentration of both monsters and natural wildlife. I nod slowly, absorbing the explanation. And secondly, Eris continues, if you were an animal with common sense, would you live near a dungeon entrance where hundreds of adventurers and hunters come in every day looking to kill you? Oh, now that makes sense. Of course, they'd stay away from the danger zones, where adventurers are constantly passing through. Survival instincts at their finest. Eris tilts her head, glancing toward another clearing. And furthermore, some monsters and animals tend to band together, even when they aren't the same species, just to fend off adventurers. I follow her gaze, my catgirl eyes narrowing slightly. Then I see it. A battle. Hell yeah. A real fight. A group of 5 adventurers is locked in combat, clashing against a pack of wolves and 2 massive, white-furred apes. My eyes widen. Wait, wolves and apes working together? I've never seen that before. But as I watch the scene unfold, understanding dawns on me. To those monsters, humans are the real threat. Adventurers invade their territory, hunt them down, wipe them out, so of course they'd band together. Not out of friendship, not out of some natural alliance, but because they're fighting to live. They aren't attacking for fun. They're trying to survive. As if sensing my curiosity, Inky slows down, his wing beats shifting into a smoother, more controlled glide. Below us, a wolf lunges at the adventurers, its fangs bared, a feral snarl ripping through the air. But before it can land a hit, the warrior with a massive shield intercepts it, his stance firm, his defense impenetrable. A swordsman steps in, his blade flashing in the light as he swings. The wolf yelps, stumbling backward, its blood staining the fresh snow. Another adventurer thrusts his sword forward. The wolf collapses, a dark crimson pool spreading beneath, its unmoving form. Two other wolves charge forward, but before they can reach the humans. Whoosh! A pair of fireballs explode from the mages standing in the back line. The flames engulf the wolves instantly. Burning fur, dying howls, and then silence. I watch, my chest tightening. I don't know why, but I feel bad for them. The wolves and apes were just trying to survive. But if I become an adventurer, I'll have to do the same thing. I'll have to kill dungeon monsters and animals to make a living. Eris exhales softly. Seems like they've got it handled. That's a pretty balanced party. But as we continue flying, the scene below lingers in my mind, a quiet, uneasy weight settling in my chest. Eris, I hesitate. If those adventurers were losing, would you step in and help them? Of course. Eris nods without hesitation. Being an adventurer means helping each other, right? Right. That makes sense. But my mind is still stuck on the wolves. I bite my lip, my grip unconsciously tightening around Eris. My heart feels strangely heavy. Hey, Eris. She tilts her head slightly. Eris glances back at me, then smirks. Hey, don't tell me you're feeling bad for the wolves. I nod, my ears flicking downward. Why, yes. My fingers clutch at the fabric of her coat. I really do. My voice trails off, barely above a whisper. I don't know why I feel this way, but something about it just feels wrong. Eris. I swallow hard. Am I weird? For a moment, she doesn't answer. Then, Eris smirks softly. Nah, not at all. Her hand reaches down, gently taking mine, fingers lacing between my own, grounding me, steadying me. I get it. Wolves are cute, right? I nod slowly. If possible, I'd love for us to coexist, she admits. But then her grip tightens. Her voice dips lower, more serious. But they're monsters, Felicia. They're wild animals. Her eyes flicker, cool and knowing as she looks forward. Do you think they feel the same? Do you think they'd show us mercy? I open my mouth, then close it, because I already know the answer. No, they wouldn't. And suddenly, the world feels a little colder. Believe it or not, that's exactly how humans and Furin used to feel about each other hundreds of years ago. Her words settle over me like a heavy weight, and I feel my chest tighten, right? There was a time when humans and Furin weren't allies, weren't neighbors, weren't friends. They were enemies, hunting, killing, and fearing each other. Now, we share cities, jobs, and homes, living side by side as if those brutal days were nothing more than a distant nightmare. But back then, it was never that simple. It was just kill or be killed. Eris's voice drops to a quiet murmur. At the end of the day, Felicia, our lives are what truly matter. There's no hesitation in her tone, no trace of doubt. Her words are calm, yet beneath them, there's something sharper, something unyielding. No matter who or what stands in front of you, if they want to hurt you, you fight back. She turns slightly, and when our eyes meet, the usual playfulness in her gaze is gone. Instead, her blue eyes are steady, serious. And if necessary, she says, voice quiet but firm, you kill them. I swallow hard, my throat dry. Yes, I understand. Kill if you don't want to be killed. It's how the world works. It's just that simple. I nod, gripping her hand a little tighter. And in. Finally, I see the portal. It looms before us, tall and imposing, a swirling gateway of deep, dark blue, far richer, far more intense than the brighter, gentler hue of the entrance we first passed through. Electricity crackles along its edges, wild and untamed, sending bright arcs of energy zapping through the air, flickering like tiny, erratic bolts of lightning. And surrounding it, a storm of whirling snow, an endless vortex of frost and wind, spiraling in slow, hypnotic patterns. Just looking at it, I know. The mana here is stronger. And with stronger mana comes greater danger. A sudden chill prickles against my skin, and I shiver involuntarily. Oh, I can feel the cold already. Eris chuckles softly beside me, her breath visible in the icy air. Yup, that's because of the mana leaking from a gate. Mana leaking. I blink, tilting my head in confusion. Yeah, Eris explained smoothly. Higher-rank dungeons tend to leak mana into lower-rank areas from time to time. It's totally normal. The stronger a dungeon is, the more intensely you can feel it from afar. Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. If I think of mana like a concentration of energy, then naturally it would flow from areas of high density to low density, just like heat dispersing or water seeking to fill empty spaces. And the only thing keeping it contained is the dungeon gate itself. I take a deep breath, mentally preparing myself. Okay, ready? Eris asks, glancing back at me. We're about to enter Lake Vanessa now. I nod firmly, steeling myself. And in, the air around us grows colder, the frost-thickened wind brushing against my face like icy fingertips. A faint prickle runs down my spine, an almost instinctual reaction to the sheer power radiating from a portal. I hesitate for a moment. But do we have to get off, Inky? My eyes flick to the swirling gate, half expecting Eris to say we need to walk through it. Eris smirks, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Nah, we could just fly through it. She reaches out, patting Inky's side, giving him a silent cue. At once, the massive shadow wyvern shifts, his wings folding slightly as he dips lower, his movements fluid and controlled as we begin our descent. Lower and lower, gliding just above the snow, skimming over the frost-covered ground, moving smoothly toward the glowing portal ahead. The air thickens around us, the pressure growing heavier, as if we're about to break through an invisible threshold. The energy hums louder, a deep, resonant vibration that I can feel buzzing against my skin, sinking into my very bones. And then, whoosh, we soar straight into the dungeon gate. A split second of weightlessness, a moment where everything around us turns into a swirling cascade of blue and white light. And then, we emerge into Lake Vanessa. Whoosh! A blast of frigid air whips past us, sharp and relentless, as we shoot through the dungeon gate. Electricity crackles around us, static zapping against my skin, sending tiny jolts racing through my body. The moment we cross the threshold, Inky soars high, his massive wings spreading wide, cutting through the dense, icy air with practiced ease. And then the temperature drops. Not just a little, drastically. A bone-deep, biting cold slams into me, far more intense than the previous area. Ooh! I shiver violently, instinctively hugging Eris tighter, pressing myself against her warmth. The wind lashes at my face, a relentless, stinging force that makes my skin prickle even beneath my thick layers of clothing. It's like getting slapped by winter itself. I can feel it, the way the cold sinks straight into my bones, wrapping around me like an invisible frost. Goosebumps rise along my arms, and my ears twitch from the sudden chill. Eris glances back at me, her blue eyes gentle yet assessing. Are you all right? She asks. Do you need another cold resistance potion? I open my mouth to reply. But, achoo! A powerful sneeze erupts from me, my whole body jerking forward slightly. I sniffle, wiping my nose with the back of my glove. Ugh! As much as I hate the taste of that damn potion, I already know. I need it. So reluctantly I nod. I guess so. Without hesitation, Eris pulls out another vial, handing it to me. I stare at the glowing blue liquid, grimacing. The taste is going to be awful. But at this rate, I'll freeze before we even land. With a deep breath, I tilt my head back and chug it down, forcing myself to swallow as quickly as possible. The bitterness coats my tongue, the familiar sharp, spicy aftertaste burning down my throat. I gag, barely hold back the urge to throw up. Why does this stuff taste like actual suffering? But a few minutes later, the warmth spreads through my body, pushing back against the cold. I take a deep breath, and this time, I can actually breathe without feeling like my lungs are turning to ice. Much better. Now, looking down, my eyes widen in awe. Oh, wow. This place is completely different from where we came from. It's not just an endless stretch of snowy forest and pine trees. The landscape is dotted with towering ice crystals, their jagged forms rising from the ground like frozen spires, glistening under the pale sunlight. A thick layer of icy mist swirls over the land, drifting lazily like a veil of frost. It's as if the entire world has been trapped inside a giant, enchanted refrigerator. But then, something catches my eye. Something strange. Something beautiful. Wait, Eris, what are those? I point excitedly toward a group of deer, except they're not normal deer. Their bodies shimmer like glass, transparent and ethereal, gleaming with an otherworldly glow as they move gracefully through the snow. Eris follows my gaze and smiles. They're ice beasts. I blink. Ice beasts. She nods. In this area, you won't find regular animals. Instead, all the creatures here are icy variations. Their bodies aren't made of flesh and bone, but of solid ice. Woo-wah! I breathe, my tail flicking with excitement. As I scan the land below, I notice even more creatures. A group of foxes, their sleek bodies sculpted from frost, their tails trailing wisps of icy mist as they leap through the snow. A raccoon, its crystalline fur glittering as it scurries across a frozen log. And above us, a flock of ice birds soars through the sky, their wings catching the sunlight, refracting it into a dazzling cascade of colors. Wow, I can't help but admiring, my heart expanding in joy. This place is truly a winter wonderland, a magical landscape, frozen yet full of life. And then, something else draws my attention. A cluster of flowers, their deep blue petals dusty with twinkling frost, blooming right out of the snow. Absolutely beautiful, gorgeous even. My ears perk up as I grab Eris's arm. Eris, are those Vanessa lilies? I ask, barely able to contain my excitement. However, nope, Eris replies, her tone amused. They're the thing you just consumed, glacier blooms. Ehel. I gape at her, then back at the flowers. These are the nasty potion ingredients. They look so delicate, so breathtakingly pretty, yet they taste like absolute suffering. Unbelievable. I groan. Something that beautiful has no right tasting that bad. Eris laughs. I won't argue with that. Still, my curiosity isn't satisfied yet. I glance around, scanning the horizon. Then, where are the Vanessa lilies? Actually, where is Lake Vanessa? So far, all I see is dry land. Endless snow, ice formations, and scattered trees. No lake. Eris smirks. Hang on, we're almost there. And then, a few minutes later, as Inky glides effortlessly through the crisp air, the landscape begins to change. And suddenly we arrive. Eris gestures grandly. As you can see, this is Lake Vanessa. What? For a moment, I just stare at Eris in confusion. She just said we've arrived at Lake Vanessa, but where the hell is the lake? All I see below us is a vast, rocky expanse, scattered with pebbles and jagged stones. No shimmering water, no gentle waves, just land. But then, something catches my eye. A massive fish, nearly the size of a boat, is floating? No, hovering. It glides effortlessly through the air, its translucent fins rippling like liquid silk as it moves in slow, graceful arcs. And it's not alone. A whole school of flying fish drifts just above the ground, their smooth, icy scales reflecting the light like glass. Nearby, clusters of giant ice frogs sit in perfect stillness, their round, crystal-like bodies pulsing faintly with a strange, inner glow. But what's even weirder, they're levitating, just sitting there, suspended in midair, as if some unseen magic is holding them up. I blink, completely perplexed. What the hell is going on? Then, I look closer, and, holy shit, the lake is right there, right in front of me. I just didn't see it, because the water is so crystal clear, so impossibly pure, that I can see straight through it, all the way to the rocky bottom. If it weren't for a few faint cracks across its icy surface, I wouldn't have even noticed it at all. A lake as clear as glass. Eris grins, noticing my stunned expression. And look, these are the flowers. I tear my eyes away from the invisible lake and follow her gaze. And there, I see them. Vanessa lilies. They grow directly from the frozen surface, their stems rising tall and unyielding. Their majestic white petals shimmer like carved ice, catching the light in a way that makes them look almost ethereal, as if they aren't just flowers, but living crystals sculpted by winter itself. And what's more magical, they're growing straight from the lake, doesn't even need soil. A few glacier blooms are scattered among them, their deep blue petals twinkling with frozen dust. But here, the lilies dominate. Eris turns to me with a knowing smile. Do you know the difference between Vanessa lilies and glacier blooms? I tilt my head. Well, they look really different. One looks like a blue, sparkling rose. The other is white and translucent, its petals gleaming like glass. Eris chuckles. I meant their properties and uses. Oh, I blink. No, I don't. Can you tell me? Of course. She points first to the glacier bloom, her voice taking on a light, teaching tone. Even though both flowers thrive in extreme cold, their nature is completely opposite. The glacier bloom has evolved to withstand freezing temperatures. Its magic acts as a shield, protecting it from the cold. My ears twitch in realization. Oh, so that's why it's used for cold resistance potions. Exactly. Eris nods. Then, she gestures toward the Vanessa lilies. But these, they're different. They don't endure the cold. Her eyes flick to me, glinting with meaning. They are the cold, the beautiful manifestation of winter. I furrow my brows, absorbing her words. Huh. But it doesn't take very long for me to get what she meant. Oh, I gasp in realization. So one is enduring the cold, but the other one is thriving from the cold? Exactly. Eris grins. That's fascinating. To think two species, so similar yet so different, can exist in the same frozen world, yet embody completely opposite forces. A plant that fights against winter, and one that is winter. Then, Eris smirks, tilting her head. Now then, if glacier blooms are used for cold resistance potions, what do you think Vanessa lilies are used for? I pause. My mind turns, tracing the logic of their nature. I bite my lip, staring at the luminous white flowers. If they carry pure winter magic, then they wouldn't be used to protect against the cold. They'd be used to cause it. Then, perhaps, poison, I guess. Eris's smile widens. I knew it. The perfect opposite of a cold resistance potion is a frost poison. And if my deduction is correct, that means Vanessa lilies are deadly. Hee hee, smart Felicia. Eris taps my hand, grinning in approval. Yup, you can grind those lilies into fine powder, then sprinkle it onto arrow tips or sword blades to infuse them with frost magic. Once the weapon cuts into an opponent, the particles will instantly freeze their body. It's also incredibly deadly when used in explosive frost bombs. Some people even combine it with wind magic to create wide-range frost attacks. I blink, taking in the information. That's terrifyingly powerful. But Eris isn't done. Actually, even in its natural form, the flower itself can be a lethal weapon, she continues. Its petals are as sharp as a knife's edge, and the moment they touch anything, they freeze it solid. Oh, I immediately remember something. So that's why the quest warned us not to touch them directly. Yup, I glance at the delicate, crystal-like petals swaying gently in the cold breeze. Damn, these flowers are seriously dangerous. But then, Eris suddenly smirks. Well, on the brighter side, they can also be used to make ice cream and sorbet. I whip my head toward her. What? Yup, she laughs. In very small amounts, they're edible and safe. Some high-end restaurants use them in gourmet desserts. And they're even used for enchantments, like your enchanted water bottle, for example. Oh, so my cool bottle is also made from Vanessa lilies. Yeah, Eris nods, laughing softly at my reaction. Now I get why people pay so much for these flowers. They're not just rare, they're also very versatile. All right, how much money was it per flower again? Eris asks. Since my memory sucks, I reach into my bag and pull out the quest paper, scanning for the reward amount. Quest type, Gathering. Danger, D rank. Dungeon, Lake Vanessa. Request, 10 plus Vanessa lilies with frozen petals. Has to be kept frozen. Reward, 2,000 crowns for each 10 flowers gathered, up to 20,000 crowns. Note, do not touch the flowers with bare hands, and be aware of frogs. Just don't step into within 10 meters from them, or they will notice you, and try your best not to pick any flower with a frog guarding it. Well, if you lads are strong enough to beat up those fuckers and get their core, feel free to do so. I will also be paying you 100 crowns for each core. There are hundreds of Vanessa lilies here. However, there are thousands of giant icy frogs. And judging by how they're positioned, the frogs aren't just hanging around. They're guarding the flowers. As I take in the scene, one of them suddenly shoots out its long tongue, snatching a lily straight off the ice. Slurp. The moment it swallows, its entire body shimmers with a frosty glow. And, wait, they just get bigger. I swear, its body just bulked up slightly, the icy patterns on its skin growing more pronounced. It says 2,000 crowns for 10. I finally mutter, reading off the quest paper. Eris whistles low. All right, let's make some mad money. With that, she stands up on Inky's back, shrugging off her coat before stretching her arms, rolling her shoulders, and crack, crack. She loosens her knuckles and neck, preparing her body as if she's about to go for a light jog, not battle an army of ice frogs. Then she downs 2 cold resistance potions in one go. Earth! A violent shudder runs through her as she grimaces at the taste, her tail puffing up in protest. But like the absolute champ she is, she just shakes it off. I tug on her shirt, worried. Be careful. Eris grins, ruffling my hair. Don't worry. Just watch me. And then she turns around, takes a step. Huh? Wait a second. I immediately grab her arm, my heart lurching. Eris, what are you doing? She's literally trying to walk off Inky, and we are over 100 meters up in the sky. Has she lost her mind? Eris pauses, tilting her head at me like she doesn't understand why I'm freaking out. Then after a moment, oh, a giggle escapes her lips. It's fine, don't worry. I've done this 1,000 times before. You just stay here, okay? I'll be back in no time. I look at her, then at the lake far, far below. Gulp. I mean, I know she's strong. She's A rank. She's ridiculously powerful. She's probably fought way worse things than oversized ice frogs. But still, the thought of her jumping off a wyvern, mid-air, it still feels insane. I hesitate, but then I shake my head. No, what am I thinking? Eris is Eris. If she says she'll be fine, she'll be fine. Thus, slowly, I let go of her arm. Eris flashes me a confident smile before exchanging a silent glance with Inky. Inky, watch Felicia for me, okay? Eris says softly. The shadow wyvern rumbles low, a deep, reassuring sound vibrating through the air. Good boy. Eris crouches down and pats his side fondly. Then, without another word, she steps off and free falls straight into the lake. I watch as Eris plummets toward the ice, my breath caught in my throat, my fingers clenched so tightly that my nails dig into my palms. I know she's strong. I know catgirls, like real cats, can fall from extreme heights without a problem. But this is too high. Really, really high. Just looking down makes my head spin, a wave of dizziness crashing over me like I'm the one falling instead. My heart pounds against my ribs, a panicked rhythm drumming in my ears. Will she be okay? Then, thud, crack. A spiderweb of thin fractures spreads outward from where she lands, the ice beneath her groaning under the impact. But that's it. She's fine. No, she's more than fine. Eris straightens as if nothing happened, like she just hopped off a small step, not dropped 100 meters from the sky. My jaw nearly unhinges. Holy shit. She tilts her head up, her bright blue eyes locking onto mine, a confident glint dancing in them. Then, she smirks and winks. Oomph. Show off. But before I can mentally prepare myself to scold her for scaring the hell out of me, the real problem begins. Her landing has drawn attention. The giant icy frogs, each 3 times her height and twice as wide, slowly turn to face her, their glowing blue eyes narrowing in eerie unison. They inhale, their bellies swelling up, and then, as they exhale, Clouds of icy mist swirl outward from their open mouths, curling through the air like a warning. Based on what I've heard from Eris, these are only C-rank monsters at best. Eris is A-rank. Logically, I shouldn't be worried. She won't have any trouble. And yet, my heart pounds anyway. After all, if they come at her in large groups, they may pose some serious trouble, I think. And furthermore, Eris also told me that even B-rank adventurers die here if they underestimate those frogs. I clutch my coat tightly, my tail puffing up, my ears twitching anxiously. Be careful, Eris. I silently pray. Don't get hurt. All of a sudden, boom, a tongue lashes out, so fast that I barely register it. I don't even see it happen. 1 second, the frog opens its mouth, and the next, its massive tongue slams down onto where Eris was standing. A cloud of ice and mist erupts, swallowing the entire spot in a blinding explosion of frost. I can't see her. I can't tell if she dodged it. Fuck. My fingers dig into my coat. My tail bristles. My ears flatten. My heart slams against my ribs. For a second, I can't breathe. Then, crack, crang, a sharp, shattering noise rips through the air. The frog fractures, its entire body bursting apart like fragile glass, scattering into a million shimmering shards. And behind it, Eris stands. A wild grin stretches across her face, her hand clenched around the monster's glowing core. Its icy remains crumbling at her feet. What the heck is going on? My brain is not braining anymore. Since when? I didn't even see her move. And then, before I can even process what just happened, the remaining frogs attack. Massive bodies launch into the air, their shadows swallowing her whole. But, one by one, they shatter, exactly like how the first one exploded. Each impact is a miniature explosion, a storm of frozen fragments scattering like shards of crystal. And Eris, her movements blur, too fast for my eyes to track. A flash of motion here, another there before I can blink, another frog is reduced to dust. She's not even using a weapon, just her bare fists, smashing their bodies like candies. Damn, I can't believe my eyes anymore. Is this what an A-rank adventurer is like? TCH, come on, this is too boring. Eris complains, rolling her shoulders before cracking her knuckles with a sharp pop. In mere seconds, she's slaughtered over 20 of the massive ice frogs as if they were nothing more than training dummies. She exhales, looking around at the pathetic battlefield she's left in her wake. Then, all right, come at me, all of you. With a sharp clap, she slams her palms together. Bam! A massive shockwave erupts, blasting outward like a sudden storm. The boom reverberates through the frozen landscape, its echo bouncing off the lake's distant cliffs. And then, every single frog in the area snaps its eyes open. Thousands of glowing blue orbs lock onto Eris, their cold, unblinking stares filled with raw hostility. That's not just a horde. That's a fucking army. And Eris? She grins. Now that's more like it. Hayaka. A sharp gasp rips from my throat as pure terror slams into me like a freight train. What the hell is she doing? She's insane. She's actually trying to take on every single frog in this entire lake at once. And now, bam, 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 bam. The frogs leap forward, their massive bodies slamming into the ice, each impact sending violent tremors rolling across the frozen lake. The entire ground quakes beneath their sheer weight, cracks splintering outward, the frozen landscape groaning in protest. And then, they charge. A tsunami of frogs, an unstoppable avalanche of monsters, their enormous bodies stacking higher and higher, rising like a monstrous tidal wave, a wall of destruction rushing toward Eris. They tower over her, 20, 30 meters high, a colossal wall of death, blotting out the sky, ready to swallow her whole. And then, crash! The wave of monsters collapses, an unstoppable force crashing down, burying her beneath a mountain of their massive bodies. No, Eris! I scream her name, my voice raw, shaking, a sharp, panic cry that tears at my throat. Damn it, this is my fault. She was showing off because of me. And now she's... Inky. I turned to the shadow wyvern, my heart hammering against my ribs, my hands gripping onto his solid, smoky scales as I shake him, barely able to breathe. We have to do something. We have to rescue her. But do what? I'm not strong enough. I don't stand a chance against this many C-ranked monsters. Hopelessness twists in my chest, my eyes burning, my vision blurring with tears. But then, rumble, a deep, guttural vibration rips through the frozen lake. The mountain of frogs trembles. Something is happening, something below them. And then, boom, explosion. A deafening explosion tears through the battlefield. Frogs go flying, their massive bodies flung into the air like ragdolls, crashing into the ice with thunderous impact. A shockwave of crystalline ice shards blasts outward, tearing through the mist, reflecting the light like scattered diamonds. At the center of it all, Eris stands, her fist clenched, her clothes dusted with frost, her breath curling in the cold air. And on her face, a mad, bloodthirsty grin. Eris, her name rips from my throat, my voice shattering through the icy air as my chest heaves, my heart pounding so violently I can feel it in my ears. Damn it, Eris. A grin spreads across my face, my breath coming in shaky bursts, my hands trembling with adrenaline. Holy shit, she's so cool. But at the same time, once she gets back, I'm going to tickle her to death. She does not get to scare me like that again. But this isn't over. The battlefield is a frozen wasteland of carnage, littered with the shattered remains of her prey, a graveyard of ice and death. Yet, despite the destruction, despite the sheer massacre, there are still thousands of them, and they are pissed. Once again, the remaining army surges forward, a massive tide of gleaming blue bodies, closing in onto Eris from all four directions. A wall of ice frogs, thousands of eyes gleaming, a relentless flood of rage and survival instinct. And then, boom, the next wave collides with Eris, their massive bodies slamming down, burying her beneath a writhing avalanche of monsters. A mountain of frozen flesh swallowing her whole once more. For a single, agonizing second, silence. But then the same thing happens. Rumble, boom. Another explosion rips through the air, sending a shockwave of raw destruction outward. The ground trembles beneath the force as Eris erupts from the pile, shattering half of them into frozen dust. I watch with bated breath, my nails digging into my coat, my ears twitching from sheer anticipation. And then the same thing. Keep happening again and again. The frogs keep swarming, trying to crush Eris with their sheer number. Meanwhile, Eris keep breaking out, killing hundreds of frogs every time. Boom, boom, watching this battle unfold. Oh, my freaking God. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Eris is like an overpowered manhwa MC, taking on an army of monster like nothing. Countless amount of frogs have been destroyed so far. However, from the look of it, Eris is fine. No, Eris isn't just fine. She's loving it. Her face is split into a wild, untamed grin, her eyes glowing with raw, savage delight, her entire aura pulsing with pure, unfiltered bloodlust. The sheer intensity of it makes my hair stand on end, a cold shiver racing down my spine. And then, there it is. That feeling again. I can feel it. The thrill. The love for destruction, the way my heart pounds at the sight of her merciless slaughter, the way my blood burns with unrestrained exhilaration. A mad grin stretches across my face. I'm trembling, smiling. That damned crazy face again, I'm now making it. Too bad these ice frogs don't bleed. No organs spilling out, no guts strewn across the battlefield. No crimson splatters painting the ice in a masterpiece of carnage. Otherwise, the gore would be beautiful, and I might just come right on the spot. Moments later, suddenly, the battlefield falls eerily silent for a moment. Too silent. A suffocating stillness settles over the frozen lake, The howling winds momentarily hushed, as if the very world itself is holding its breath. I lean forward, my pulse hammering in my ears. What's going on? Why have the remaining frogs suddenly stopped moving? My ears twitch as I watch them shift, their glowing blue eyes flickering with some sort of understanding. Oh shit. Seems like they've realized that swarming Eris won't work. So now, what will they do? Will they run away? However, I was wrong. Instead of running away, the frogs leap together. All of them. Their massive bodies collide midair, their frozen flesh fusing together, melding into something far, far worse than any individual beast. A deep, guttural rumbling fills the air, the very atmosphere vibrating as mana surges violently, converging at the center of their grotesque transformation. And then, boom! A cataclysmic shockwave erupts outward, the sheer force shattering ice, sending jagged shards flying like deadly spears. A blizzard of frost and energy spirals through the air, thick, suffocating. And when the haze clears, a titan frog stands before us. Towering, colossal, a monstrosity born from 1,000 fused frogs. Whoa, whoa, I gape, my breath catching in my throat, my heart slamming against my ribs. What the actual fuck am I looking at? The frogs have merged, their bodies fused into something far beyond a simple monster. And now, standing before Eris, looming like an unstoppable force of nature. A freaking boss, 50 meters tall. Its spiked body pulses violently, raw, icy energy crackling through its form, jagged icicles jutting from its limbs like some kind of natural armor. In its eyes, twin frozen stars, burning with an unnatural, primal light, filled with hatred and anger. Each flicker of its eerie glow sends a pulse of fear down my spine, like the abyss itself is staring back at me. Then, it breathes. Whoosh! A colossal gust of wind erupts from its lungs, tearing across the frozen lake like a raging storm. The sheer force of it slams into Inky, sending the massive wyvern lurching backward, his wings flaring wildly as he fights against the blast. I clutch onto his scales, barely keeping myself steady. But below, Eris doesn't move. She stands there, completely unshaken, her gaze locked onto the beast before her. Gulp. I swallow hard. What even is this thing? B rank? A rank? I don't know, but feels dangerous. And for the first time, doubt creeps into my mind. Eris, can she actually handle this? My fists clench, my breath growing shallow, shaky. Then, the Titan opens its mouth. A deep, guttural inhale. And then, Su-way. A roaring blast of icy destruction explodes forward. A massive beam of freezing energy barreling toward Eris like the breath of a god. Eris! I scream her name, panic ripping through me. But before the attack can reach her, boom! A pitch-black shield slams into place, blocking the blast entirely. My eyes widen. Yes, it's Eris magic. Dark energy hums through the air, swirling around her like a living shadow, shifting and twisting like it has a mind of its own, shielding her and reinforcing her darkness shield. I still don't know what the hell her magic is, but apparently, aside from conjuring swords and chains, she can make shields too? Holy shit, that means she can just shape darkness into whatever weapon she wants. If so, that's insanely cool. The Titan's icy beam lasts a full 10 seconds, its brilliant, blinding glow swallowing the battlefield in a storm of freezing light. Yet, not a single ray of it touches her. Not one. Eris stands, completely unharmed, her expression bored, as if she expected nothing less. As the attack fades, the massive Titan lets out a deep, guttural roar, its frozen breath still clouding the air in thick mist. Meanwhile, Eris lowers her shield, the dark energy compressing into a small, floating orb, hovering effortlessly by her side. Then, she reshapes it, and this time, it takes the form of a few days ago. Whoa, so you're like a total weapon master? Yep, you could say that. And what about size? Size? Yeah, big sides. Whoosh whoosh. I swung my arms dramatically, mimicking a reaper's motion. The image of Eris wielding a massive scythe, reaping the souls of her enemies like a grim catgirl reaper, flashed through my mind. Oh my, that would be so cool. And, if possible, I want to try wielding a scythe too. However, Eris suddenly burst into laughter, clutching her stomach. Sure, if your enemies are grass. Haha, show off. I can't help but snicker. Eris, she's such a playful catgirl. With a single swing of her massive scythe, for colossal arcs of violet energy explode through the air, slicing effortlessly through the Titan frog's body. 8 perfectly clean pieces hit the ice. As the battle finally comes to an end and the colossal ice frog is reduced to nothing but shattered remains, Inky glides down from the sky, his massive wings spreading wide before folding gracefully as he lands atop the frozen lake. His presence alone sends a gust of frigid wind sweeping across the battlefield, stirring up the lingering frost. Eris, I call out, my voice carrying across the ice, echoing faintly in the vast, open air. Eris makes her enormous scythe vanish into nothingness with a flick of her wrist, then walks over towards me. Are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? I ask quickly, eyes scanning her up and down for injuries. Nope, I'm totally fine. Eris beams. How was it? Was I cool? And I nod enthusiastically, my ears perked. Damn, seeing her wielding that scythe, cutting down a Titan like it was a casual afternoon workout, that was the coolest thing ever. But then, my brows furrow, and I puff out my cheeks in an exaggerated pout. But you made me so worried. I scold, tail flicking furiously behind me. I thought those frogs actually crushed you. Eris rubs the back of her head sheepishly, a sheepish smile tugging at her lips, her sharp teeth peeking out. Don't do that again, okay? Please. Okay, she replies, clearly amused, but nodding all the same. Then, gently, she reaches for my hand, helping me down from Inky's back. The moment my boots touch the ice. Ugh! I squeak, shivering as a jolt of cold shoots up my legs. My tail bristles, puffing slightly. My breath fogs out in thick clouds. Even with 2 cold resistance potions, a thick winter coat, fur-lined boots, and mittens, it's still freezing down here. Not unbearable, though. Just almost unbearable. All around us, jagged shards of shattered monsters glitter across the lake's surface like broken glass sculptures. I glance downward. Beneath my feet, fish are swimming. They glide so gracefully under the transparent ice, their movements slow and hypnotic. The lake's frozen layer is thick, really thick. But it's so clear I feel like I could fall right through, straight into that glassy dream world below. My eyes glaze a little mesmerized, until Eris gently taps my arm, snapping me out of it. It's beautiful, isn't it? She murmurs beside me, her breath misting into the frigid air. Why, yeah, I whisper back. She's right. It really is. This place, the atmosphere, the magic. Totally worth choking down 2 nasty potions to get here. Eris stretches her arms overhead with a little satisfied sigh. Now, with the monsters taken care of, she says with a grin, it's time to collect the loot. Right. I perk up, beaming. All around us, hundreds of icy flowers bloom gently from the surface of the lake, untouched and glistening like jewels. Eris already did the hard part, clearing the monsters. Now it's time for me to contribute. All right, I'll help. Leave it to me, I declare proudly. I march toward one of the flowers, crouch down, and reach out to grab it. With determined strides, I march over to one of the beautiful blossoms blooming from the frozen lake. I crouch down, brimming with confidence, and reach out to grab the stem. But then, not so fast. A hand lands firmly on my shoulder, halting me mid-motion. I blink up at Eris, completely confused. She leans down with a mischievous smirk and gives my nose a little flick. Silly Felicia. Ow! I recoil, rubbing my nose with both mittens, pouting. Why'd you do that? I was trying to help. That's not how you collect Vanessa lilies, she says in a gently teasing tone. If you touch them directly, you'll lose your hand. Remember what I told you earlier? These flowers are literally crystallized frozen mana. Oh, I gasp, frozen mid-crouch. Right, right. And it wasn't just Eris who warned me. The quest also had clear warning letters. Do not touch the flowers with bare hands. But I'm wearing gloves, though. I argue, raising my hands and wiggling my fuzzy mittens like crab claws. Surely these thick boys could handle a little frost magic now. But Eris just shakes her head, utterly unimpressed. That'll still ruin your gloves, and probably your hands, too. Then, with a graceful flick of her wrist, she lifts her hand. Whoosh. The air around her stirs as her magic comes to life. Shadows gather at her fingertips, coiling like liquid ink before shaping themselves with smooth, deliberate precision. In seconds, they form into two sleek tools. A long, wand-like rod with a sharp, angled blade at the tip, and a delicate grabber claw, flexible yet precise. Ooh, I gasp eyes wide. I reach out carefully and run my mittened fingers along the surface. To my surprise, they feel completely solid like metal, yet nearly weightless. It's like holding a real tool, forged from shadow. And they're super self-explanatory, too. The blade is clearly meant for cutting the flower's stem, while the claw can gently extract and hold the bloom without damaging it. With tools like this, I am so ready to harvest. Heck yeah. But first, Eris, so you can make anything from your magic? I ask, eyes gleaming with curiosity. Eris hums, twirling a small dagger made of pure darkness between her fingers. Well, not everything, though. She waves a hand, and the dagger dissolves into mist. My magic allows me to create most weapons and tools, but there's a size limit. I can't make anything too massive, nor can I create living, animated creatures. Also, there's a limit to how many things I can control at once. As she speaks, she raises a hand again. Whoosh! The shadows coil around her, twisting and reshaping. In an instant, they shift. A sword, a shield, an axe, a spear, one after another. Her magic seamlessly morphs into different weapons, forming and vanishing in the blink of an eye. I stare in awe as she cycles through them effortlessly. Whoa, that's still amazing. I gasp. That's why you don't even need to carry weapons, huh? Eris chuckles. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Then, wait. An idea suddenly slams into my brain like a meteor. How many weapons can you make at the same time? Can you show me? Please, I unleash my ultimate move, catgirl begging eyes. Level max. The limit of Eris magic. I so want to see. Eris blinks, then grins. All right, she laughs, since you asked so cutely. She closes her eyes for a moment, exhaling slowly. And then, boom, the air vibrates. Dark energy erupts around her, swirling like a storm of midnight mist. And then, not one, not two, not 5, but 12. 12 blades materialize, each one a floating weapon of pure darkness, circling her like she's some divine sword goddess of darkness. My jaw drops. Holy shit! Eris stands at the center of it all, her expression calm, confident, almost playful, as if this level of power is nothing to her. The swords hum with energy, their sharp edges gleaming under the ice's reflection, moving in perfect, controlled synchrony. But then, whoosh, with a flick of her wrist, all 12 blades explode. Not violently, beautifully. They shatter into a flurry of dark petals, roses made from shadow, blooming into the air and drifting down around me like soft, fluttering feathers. Dozens, hundreds. They swirl through the sky in graceful arcs, brushing against my cheeks, my ears, my tail some catching in my hair. The petals feel cool to the touch. They are all soft, velvety, and impossibly delicate, like a scene straight out of some romantic, gothic fantasy opera. It's magical. I stand there, frozen in place, completely spellbound. Suddenly, Eris winks, her mouth holding a rose as well. What the hell was that? I feel heat explode into my cheeks. Damn, that was smooth, but cringy. Way too cringy. I swat the air, batting away some of the floating petals. Hey, all right. That's enough. You show off. Give me back my tools. I need to collect the lilies now. Eris bursts into laughter, and with another casual wave of her hand, some of the floating roses twist and morph back into tools, returning to their original form. I grab them quickly, avoiding eye contact because I refuse to acknowledge how flustered I am right now. Meanwhile, the remaining petals drift back toward Eris, dissolving as they touch her skin, as if being absorbed back into her body. She then turns to Inky and reaches for her backpack. Okay, here's how we're storing them. She pulls out a small cube, which she casually drops onto the ice. The moment it makes contact, whoosh, it expands into a 1 meter tall, 1 meter wide containment box, shimmering faintly with magical enchantments. This box is specially enchanted, Eris explains, tapping its surface. Once you collect the flowers, just drop them in here. It'll preserve them perfectly until we get back. I have no freaking idea how the cube works, but Eris says it does, so... And in. Roger that. I give her a salute. And with that, I march off to collect flowers, enthusiastically wielding my fancy new tools. Eris, meanwhile, goes a little bit further, gathering the ones farther away. Damn, this shadow blade is insanely sharp. It glides through the Vanessa lily stems like it's slicing through air. Effortless, smooth, not even a whisper of resistance. I even tried testing on a small block of ice nearby, and it cut straight through like butter. Clean. Precise. No wonder Eris could dice up that giant frog boss like it was made of papier-mâché. Her weapons aren't just fancy, they're crazily deadly. One by one, I carefully slice the lilies, then use the little claw tool to gently lift them up, trying my best not to damage the delicate crystal petals. I carry each one back to the enchanted storage box and place them inside like precious treasures. The cold still bites at my nose and ears, but moving around like this is helping. My blood's pumping, my tail's swishing. I'm actually kind of into it now. And just like that, 10 minutes fly by. Hee, I got 534 flowers. Eris beams proudly, tapping the side of her now nearly full storage box. Meanwhile, I got 55. I squeak, feeling a little bit disencouraged. Yikes. Good job, Felicia. Eris flashes me a grin and gives me a big thumbs up. Her tail flicks happily behind her. But, I don't know. Even though I worked really hard, I only picked 1/10 of what she did. My ears droop a little, and I clutch the grabber tool in my hands, pouting. Oh, I feel kind of useless. Eris, of course, notices immediately. She nudges my arm gently. Hey, I know that face, she says, smiling. You're not useless at all. You helped however you could, and you're a strong emotional support. And that matters. Tap, tap, tap. She reaches up and pats my head. I still pout a little, but her words help. Well, she's Eris. She's literally Superwoman anyway. I mean, how am I supposed to compete with an A-rank adventurer? Knowing that makes me feel a bit better. But what about those flowers? I ask, pointing toward a patch of untouched lilies a little farther out. Aren't we going to collect those too? Eris shakes her head. Nope, we shouldn't. She crosses her arms. If we pick everything, there won't be anything left to grow next time, right? Oh, right. I nod quickly. That makes sense. Leave some behind. Let nature recover. Any good hunter-gatherer knows that rule. Never take everything. Okay, so in total, Eris taps her chin, eyes squinting, tail swaying back and forth as she tries to think. My 534 plus your 55, that's... I blink. Wait. Her tail is swishing faster now. Her brows furrow like she's solving some world-class mystery. Is it just me? Or is Eris bad at math? Uh-huh. My moment has come. I straighten up, puff out my chest, and beam proudly. 589. Eris gasps. Wait, Felicia, you can do math? I nod firmly, my tail flicking with excitement. Damn, that's amazing, she grins impressed. Well, I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but if you say so, I believe it. 589 it is. She claps me on the shoulder, and I can't help the proud grin stretching across my face. Finally, there's something I'm better at than Eris. I giggle, puffing up with pride as I cradle my tools like a math champion holding a trophy. All right, Then the pay is 2,000 crowns for every 10 flowers. Eris murmurs, recalling the details of the quest. Then in total, I perk up immediately, tail swishing. It's 200 per flower, so that means we made 117,800 crowns. I beam proudly, doing the math in a flash. Wow. Eris blinks in surprise. Felicia, seriously, are you some kind of genius? You bet. I puff out my chest, grinning from ear to ear. But then, wait, 117,800 crowns. My brain catches up to the number I just said. Did we just make over 100K in a single day? Holy shit. No wonder Eris is always so casually loaded. She's filthy rich. So this is how high-level adventurers make their money. I can feel the imaginary gold coins raining down on my mind. I could buy so many snacks, maybe even a tiny house with that kind of money. But before I can bask in our glorious wealth any longer. Not so fast, Eris says, cutting off my mental celebration. The quest notice mentioned there's a payout cap. Maximum they'll pay for is 20,000 crowns. Eh? I freeze. My ears twitch, and I immediately dive into my bag, pulling out the crinkled quest paper. My eyes scan the fine print, and my entire soul leaves my body. Titin, I stammer, hands trembling. We just picked hundreds of extra flowers for nothing. What do we do with all of them? Throw them back. Eris giggles, clearly amused by my complete emotional meltdown. She pats my head reassuringly. Don't worry, silly. None of them will be wasted. The flowers can last forever once stored inside this enchanted box, she explains calmly. And besides, I know a few buyers who'd pay good money for them. Private collectors, alchemists, potion shops. Wait. I breathe a huge sigh of relief, practically collapsing from the stress. You scared me to death there. Eris just laughs softly. All right, she says, walking over to the storage cube. Let's pack it up. She gently taps the large metal box with her hand. At once, the cube begins to rumble softly, glowing faintly at its corners. Then, shnnk, it starts to shrink. Smaller, until it's no bigger than a Rubik's Cube, small, compact, and polished to a silvery shine. Damn, that's convenient. I marvel, eyes wide. Yup, Eris says casually, tossing the cube into the air and catching it with a smooth spin. But is it heavy? I ask curiously. It shrinks in size, but what about the weight? Want to try holding it? Eris grins, holding the cube out to me. Gulping a little, I brace myself, expecting it to feel like a brick or worse, and take it with both hands. I blink. It's light. I toss it from hand to hand, eyebrows raised in surprise. It's still quite heavy, as it is made of metal, but way lighter than it's supposed to be. Yup, Eris nods. Once the box is sealed, the flowers are stored in a pocket dimension. Their physical weight disappears entirely. Oh, that's amazing. I spin the cube around, now thoroughly impressed. Can it store other stuff too? Like clothes? Weapons? Yes, it can, Eris confirms, chuckling. As long as you can fit them inside. The opening is size limited, but the space inside is, well, magical. And how much does this thing cost? I ask, admiring the smooth metal sides. A few million crowns. Way odd. I shriek internally. A few million crowns? My hand goes stiff. My grip loosens. And, oh no, the cube slips from my hands, falling straight toward the ice. But before it can hit, whoosh, Eris snatches it out of the air with lightning speed. She raises an eyebrow. Careful, she says calmly. I am sorry. I squeak, my face flushing red with shame. My ears droop. My tail curls in guilt. Oh no. I almost dropped something worth millions. But instead of scolding me, Eris just grins and leans forward. Silly Felicia, she says gently. Boop. She flicks my nose again. I can't help it, I giggle. Despite everything, Eris always knows how to make me feel okay. Eris stashes the enchanted cube safely back in her backpack. All right, flowers are done. Now for the monster's cores, she says, straightening up. Oh, right. I blink. If she hadn't reminded me, I would have totally forgotten. Vanessa lilies might be the primary reward, but they're not the only valuable loot here. The frogs, that entire army of massive, ice-bodied monsters, each one had a core. A gleaming, magical orb of solid frost mana, nestled somewhere deep in their chests. Each one about the size of a baseball, shining with an eerie, bluish glow. And now, there are thousands of them, littered all over the battlefield like sparkling gemstones, embedded in piles of shattered ice, half buried in snow, and scattered across the lake's surface like pearls after a jewelry store explosion. I glance around, my heart sinking a little. My ears droop. How exactly are we supposed to collect all of these? It would take forever to go around and pick them up one by one. But Eris just smiles, completely unbothered. Don't worry, she says confidently, pulling something out of her bag. It's a small, clear crystal about the size of a baseball. Oh, what is this? I ask, eyes glinting with curiosity as I lean in toward the crystal sphere in Eris's hand. It's beautiful, clear and transparent with just the faintest hint of icy blue, like a frozen droplet of ocean, captured and crystallized. It's a monster core collector, Eris explains. Quite the amazing invention, you know? Before this little guy, we had to collect monster cores by hand. Manually. She shudders dramatically. Ugh, so tedious. I giggle. Eris then tossed the collector into the air. Whoosh. The sphere flashes with a sudden brilliance, its surface pulsing with energy, then begins to glow, brighter and brighter, until its light washes over the frozen landscape. A low hum vibrates through the air. Then, foom, a pulse of magic explodes outward in a wide ripple, sweeping across the shattered battlefield. The air thickens with magical pressure, like gravity folding in on itself. Suddenly, the monster cores, thousands of them, begin to rise. Drawn upward, they float from the ice like glowing fireflies, spinning in graceful arcs as they're pulled toward the hovering orb. Trails of brilliant blue light follow behind each one, swirling and dancing in the wind. Whoa! I breathe, shielding my eyes as the radiance intensifies. The entire field glows. Icy shards littered across the lake reflect the light in 1,000 directions, casting glimmering patterns across the sky and snow, like watching stars being pulled into a galaxy's heart. It's beautiful, mesmerizing, like a magical snowstorm made of light and motion. The hum grows louder. The wind sings around us. The vortex spins faster. And then, thwomp, with a final, gentle pull, the last few cores vanish into the orb. The glow fades. The wind settles. And the ball floats back down, weightless, into Eris's waiting palm. Ooh! It changed color. I gasp eyes wide. Where it was once clear, the orb is now glowing a radiant, crystalline blue, like a tiny star captured in glass. Yup, Eris says, giving an approving nod. That means it's nearly full. We really did gather a ton today. I can't take my eyes off the glowing sphere. So what are monster cores even used for? I ask, curiosity bubbling again. Lots of things, Eris says, tossing the orb gently in her hand. Enchantments, alchemy, potion crafting, but most importantly, she catches the orb with a smirk. Magic cultivation. Oh, I perk up instantly. You mean like leveling up your magic? Eris giggles. I don't know what leveling up means exactly, but you've got the right idea. Monster cores contain raw mana, and when you absorb it, you can feed your own mana core. Help it grow stronger. Evolve it. Right. I nod slowly, recalling something I read back in Arcane, Chapter 1. Magic cultivation. To cultivate, meaning to grow your mana core, you have to absorb external mana and then convert it into a kind of nutrient that your core can consume. Just like feeding a pet, or watering and fertilizing a plant. Mana cores don't survive on their own. They need sustenance. And their food? Other mana sources. It can be drawn from the environment, or extracted from enchanted potions, or pulled from magical herbs. But the most efficient method? Dungeon monster cores. They're raw, concentrated, and brimming with elemental energy. But there's a catch. Wait, I blink, holding up a finger. These cores we just collected, their water attribute, right? But don't we both have darkness mana? Isn't that, incompatible? Good catch, Eris replies, nodding with an approving smile. Yup, these are water-based cores, but I can just bring them to the market and exchange them for darkness ones. Oh, that's right, I exclaim, the realization hitting me. Eris chuckles softly. There are always people looking to trade. Someone out there will need water mana and have extra darkness cores. It's a perfect win-win. Or, she continues, I can just sell the whole thing back to the Adventurers Guild. I'll probably pass it off to Carl and let him deal with the paperwork. Having the guild master as your friend is super convenient. I tease, smirking. I know, right? Eris laughs, stretching lazily, her long hair swaying slightly with the movement. But just then, another question sneaks into my mind. A bigger one. Something I've been wondering for a while now. I hesitate, nibbling at my bottom lip before finally asking. Wait, Eris, speaking of mana cores. I begins. What stage of cultivation are you really at? Eris pauses. Then, slowly, her smile shifts, curving into something playful, but layered with mystery. Her voice drops to a teasing purr. You really want to know? Gulp. I nod. Formless core? Enlarging core? Pulsating core? How many rebirth cycles has she gone through? Up until now, whenever I use my mana sense, I only ever saw her core at stage 2, enlarging core. But that was clearly a lie. She was holding back, hiding her true power. Eris chuckles under her breath and steps back slightly, her eyes glinting. All right, see for yourself. She raises her hands slightly, giving me permission. I take a slow breath and focus, activating my mana sense. It's not like using mana directly, so I won't suffer any backlash or heartache. Just sensing is fine. No big deal. And then, whoa. The moment I see it, my entire body stumbles back, knees buckling. I nearly fall on my butt. Because what I see, it isn't just powerful. It's terrifying. Eris's mana core pulses with unimaginable energy, a massive, shifting sphere of pure darkness throbbing in the center of her chest. It rides like a living thing, swirling with tendrils of black light that spiral around it in an endless loop. The energy radiating from it is heavy, dense, overwhelming. It's like staring into a miniature black sun and feeling it pull at you, beating, living, alive, and surrounding it. For rings. Not 1, not 2, 4. FF4 rings. I stammer. Yup, Eris says casually. Pulsating core stage, 4th ring. I gape at her like she just told me she's a goddess. Holy shit, just one more, and you'll be S rank. Yup, she nods. In this world, becoming an S rank adventurer means you've reached one of 2 conditions. A physical rating of 500 or more, which basically means you're stronger than 500 people combined, or a mana core with 5 rings. Eris is this close. How far are you from the 5th ring? I ask eagerly, eyes wide. You must be super close, right? She chuckles, scratching the back of her head. Well, actually I still need like 100 more of these. She holds up the mana collector orb, which is already glowing bright blue, heavy with absorbed cores. What? 100? Yeah, she shrugs with a grin. Ice frogs are just D-rank monsters. Their cores aren't super dense or rich in mana. It takes a lot of them to even make a dent. Even if I had the money to buy more high-rank cores, it still takes time for my core to digest and cultivate all that mana. Damn, I mutter, shivering a little. That's terrifying. Eris casually tucks the orb away, securing it back in her backpack. All right, she says, dusting off her hands. We've wrapped up everything we came here to do. Ready to head out. In it, I nod, though a part of me deflates a little. Wait, are we going home? Honestly, this is so much fun. I don't want to leave yet. But, knowing Eris, she may has other things to do. I just can't be unreasonable and bother her too much. Eris raises an eyebrow, then smirks as she sees my ears droop and my tail stiffen. Look at you, she teases, reaching out to boot my nose. You don't want to leave yet, huh? I pout, then slowly nod. See, can we explore just a little more? Just a tiny little bit. Of course, she says, as if it was never even a question. Huh, we can. I mutter. Why not? Eris grins. Yes, heck yeah. I practically jump in joy, bouncing in place like an overexcited kitten. Eris laughs and helps me climb back onto Inky, who huffs affectionately as I settle onto his back. I wrap my arms tightly around Eris's waist as she sits in front of me, ready to fly. Are you sure you want to keep going? She asks. We'll have to drink another potion, you know. I pause. Well, the potions are absolutely disgusting. But I don't mind. I grin. Because this moment, flying through a magical frozen wonderland on the back of a shadow wyvern, with the most amazing catgirl ever, totally worth the suffering. So going home? No thanks. Okay, Eris chuckles. I will take you to other places then. Hang on tight. And just like that, we take off once more, Inky's wings slicing through the wind. Through icy valleys, enchanted groves, shimmering caverns, and hidden waterfalls. We fly, sightseeing, exploring, laughing, side by side. Just me, Eris, and Inky. It was literally the best day ever. Vanessa Dungeon was truly a wonder. Everywhere we went, every twist and turn felt like diving deeper into a dream, one woven together with magic, wonder, and moments so breathtaking I never wanted them to end. Our first stop was another mountain, taller and quieter than the rest, with snow curling along its jagged slopes like delicate ribbons of silk. The air was crisp and still, the sky a pale, icy blue stretching endlessly above us. Inky soared high above the peaks, his wings slicing effortlessly through the chill as we glided over cliffs and frozen ridges. Eventually, Eris pointed toward a shadowy hollow carved into the mountainside. From a distance, it looked like nothing more than an ordinary cave. Unremarkable, silent. But the moment we began to descend, my instincts told me there was something more waiting inside. This is the old Vanessa crystal mine, Eris said. It used to be a major mining site until monster activity picked up around here. Then they discovered a richer vein closer to the gate, and this place was left behind. But trust me, it's still incredible. As she spoke, Inky adjusted his wings and dipped down gracefully, his dark form slipping into the mouth of the cave like a whisper. The instant we crossed the threshold, the world changed. Darkness swallowed us whole. Everything became still, quiet, and thick like velvet. Even with my enhanced catgirl eyes, I could barely make out anything more than vague shapes. Damp stone walls, spiky stalactites, the soft sound of wind brushing past the entrance. But then, a glimmer. A single red crystal flickered dimly on the wall, no larger than a fingernail. Then another, blue, then green, then violet and amber, and suddenly, boom, the entire tunnel exploded into light. Thousands of crystals erupted into color, lining the walls and ceiling like a tunnel of stars. They sparkled and shimmered in every color imaginable, flooding the tunnel. Crimson, sapphire, gold, teal, pink, lavender. Each flicker sent cascades of light rippling across the cavern. It was like flying through a river of stardust, zipping through a galaxy. Wawa awa! I gasped, clutching Eris tighter. I couldn't stop giggling, my cheeks hurting from how wide I smiled. It was dazzling. It was surreal. It was pure magic. We didn't say much during that flight. There were no words left that could describe it. Just laughter. Just gasps. Just the sound of wonder filling the space around us. And then, as if that wasn't enough, our next destination also filled me with awe. Not as colorful, though, but absurdly grand. It was a massive, frozen waterfall, so tall I couldn't even see the top from where we were. The entire fall had frozen solid mid-descent, suspended in time like a divine sculpture. Jagged icicles reached out from the edges, their tips glowing faintly beneath the low winter sun. Wisps of icy mist floated around us, catching the light and turning everything to silver. It reminded me of Niagara Falls from my old world. Except this was at least 10 times taller, 10 times wider, 10 times more majestic. We landed near the base, where the water had frozen into a smooth slope curling along the mountainside. A natural ice slide, shaped perfectly by the flow of centuries. "You ready?" Eris grinned. "Yeah, ready for what? WAH." She grabbed my hand and jumped. "Woo-woo." "Yeah." The wind screamed in my ears. My heart felt like it launched straight into my throat. We raced down the ice, faster and faster, the world a blur of white and glittering blue. I screamed like mad. At least 3 times I thought I was going to fly off the edge, but Eris kept her grip tight, her laughter echoing alongside mine. When we finally slid to a stop in a flurry of snow, I was breathless, half-frozen, and absolutely giddy. That was amazing. And then we went again, and again, and again, and still, I didn't want it to end. By the time we finally left the frozen waterfall and its ridiculous, exhilarating ice slide, my cheeks were sore from laughing too much, my throat dry from shouting with joy, and my body buzzing with the lingering thrill of it all. But even then, the day wasn't over. Not even close. Because after that, we flew to another part of the dungeon. A place Eris called the most dangerous area in the entire Vanessa dungeon cluster. The Frost Wyvern territory. The moment we crossed into the region, I felt it. The air shifted colder, heavier, charged with power. Not the biting kind of cold that stings your fingers, but something deeper, older. Like the air itself was warning us to tread carefully. We didn't land. Instead, Inky circled high above the clouds, gliding silently as we took in the breathtaking view from afar. The landscape below looked nothing like the rest of Vanessa. It was sharp, towering, majestic. Dozens, maybe hundreds of icy spires rose from the snow-covered ground like frozen towers, each one reaching skyward, impossibly tall. Their surfaces gleamed in the fading afternoon light, shimmering with frost and reflected magic. And on those towers, nests, so many nests, huge, sprawling nests built from gnarled branches and ancient bones, encircled with glowing blue ice. And within them were the frost wyverns. They were massive, some of them easily twice the size of Inky. Their bodies were coated in brilliant white scales that shimmered like crushed diamonds, and from their spines and tails jutted glowing blue spikes, pulsing faintly with elemental energy. Their horns curled long and regal, glowing softly at the tips, while their eyes blazed with frosty fire. "How beautiful!" I muttered, couldn't hide my admire for these majestic creatures. I wished I could get closer to take a better look at them, maybe touch them. But apparently, these wyverns were all B-ranked monsters and highly territorial. If we got too close, they would attack, and there would be a bloody battle. So we just stayed at a distance, watching in quiet awe. But then, something amazing happened. "Felicia," Eris suddenly whispered, tapping my shoulder gently. "Look over there." I turned toward where she pointed, and my breath caught. I was speechless. "Whoa, whoa!" I breathed out, utterly spellbound, my eyes locked on the sky above. 2 wyverns had taken flight. A pair, one larger, its wings broad and mighty, cutting through the air with a slow, commanding grace. The other was smaller, more slender, its movements fluid and elegant, like a ribbon caught in the wind. But they weren't just flying. They were dancing, moving in perfect synchrony, looping, diving, circling one another in wide, arcing spirals. Their tails brushed midair, their glowing horns pulsed with soft blue light, and every movement shimmered with frost-kissed magic. It was breathtaking, and beneath their aerial waltz, I could hear it, a low melodic hum, the sound of their purring, singing affectionately to each other. Me and Eris watched in stunned silence, her lips parted slightly. "Wow," she breathed. "I've never seen this before. It's so cool." And then, I nodded softly, resting my head gently on her shoulder. There was something swelling in my chest, a warm, full ache that made my eyes sting for no reason at all. It wasn't sadness, just wonder, pure, quiet wonder. It was so romantic. Suddenly, Eris chuckled, like she suddenly remembered something funny. Why are you laughing?" I asked, turning my head slightly to look up at her. She smiled. her fingers brushing lightly over the back of my hand. "You know," she said tenderly, "there's a legend. One I heard a lot as a kid. Pretty famous, actually." "Oh, what kind of legend?" I asked, tilting my head. "They say," Eris began, "if two people who love each other are lucky enough to witness a wyvern mating dance like this," she gestured at the pair still spiraling in the sky, "then their bond will last forever. Blessed by the god of love. Unshakable. Eternal." I giggle, my face blushing a little bit. "Ah, but is that true? Or are you just making it up, huh?" I teased, nudging her gently. "Nope, it's true." Eris grinned, playful as always. "You can ask Lily when we get back if you don't believe me." "Oh, you bet I will," I replied. Eris turned to me then, her expression softening. Her voice, when it came, was quiet. "So, do you believe it?" Well," I swallowed. My hand tightened around hers. "Yes," I whispered. "I hope it's true." Eris leaned close, her forehead brushing gently against mine. "I love you, Felicia." I closed my eyes, feeling everything all at once. The warmth of her body, the cold bite of the wind, the magic swirling through the air around us, and the endless sky above. I nodded, hugging her tight. "Me too." And just like that, we watched the wyverns dance. My heart felt full, filled with happiness, with hope. After that, we visited a few more places, quiet, peaceful corners of the dungeon that felt like they existed outside of time. A silver grove filled with moon-glow trees. A cliffside where glimmer moths danced in the air like drifting stars. Everything was magical, but all dreams must end eventually. A day in Vanessa Dungeon was supposed to last for 72 hours, around 45 hours of daylight. But now, the sun has finally dipped behind the icy mountains, casting a deep blue hue across the snow. Night has fallen, and with it comes the night Vanessa's sky. The whole heavens blooms in color, an aurora bursting across the firmament, bright and alive, like rivers of silk weaving through a tapestry of stars. Green, violet, pale blue, it's shimmering, twisting, and pulsing in slow, dreamy waves above us. Some frozen water bodies below are reflecting the light, doubling the spectacle. It's breathtaking. It's magical. No, there's only 4 potions left. I wail, clutching the dwindling bottle of cold resistance potion like it was my lifeline. Eris simply laughs, taking one of the remaining vials for herself. That leaves just 2 more, which means only 4 more hours here. At most. "Come on," she teases, ruffling my hair. "You've been playing all day. Don't you feel tired?" "No, not at all," I reply, even as my eyelids are drooping just slightly, feeling a little bit sleepy. My body is a little sore, and my stomach is starting to growl, yearning for something warm and savory. It's too sick of cold sausages already. But my heart, it isn't ready to say goodbye. No, not yet. I snuggle tighter against Eris' back, resting my cheek against her fur coat. "Thank you, Eris." "Hey, don't be sad," she said softly. "If you like today, we'll come back again soon. There are still a lot of places we haven't seen." "And in." I nodded, my tail curling around my legs as we soared. If something like once a month I got to go to the dungeons and explore with her like this, that would be amazing. Inky's wings beat rhythmically beneath us, his body slicing through the cold air. Below us stretched the sleeping tundra, blanketed in snow and lit by starlight. Above, the aurora danced. All around us, there was only silence. Stillness. Peace. Pure, perfect peace. But suddenly, B.A. dump. My heart. It skips, then slams against my ribs. Hard. Holy fuck. I whisper, the words barely audible over the rush of wind. A cold sweat break across the back of my neck. My hands tremble. My chest tightens. My whole body tenses in instinctive panic. Fear. Raw. Animal fear. I don't know why. I don't know how. I have no idea what the hell is going on. But something feels wrong. Very wrong. A terrible, sinking weight curls in my gut like a stone. "Felicia?" Eris's voice cut through the wind, filled with concern. She glances over her shoulder, blue eyes. "Hey, what's wrong?" "I don't know." I whisper, my voice trembling. I suddenly feel something something bad. The hair on the back of my neck stand up. My ears twitch violently, straining. My tail bristles. I feel like below us right now, there's something ominous. Somewhere deep in the earth, hidden beneath all this snow and ice. Second by second, the feeling deepens. Heavy, crushing, and wrong. It's like invisible chains winding around my chest. Cold, unrelenting, tightening with every breath. My heart races, each beat louder than the last, like it's trying to warn me, to run, to hide. It's like there's something watching me, and it will be coming for me. Eris. My voice is barely a whisper, so thin it almost gets lost in the wind. See, can you feel it too? There's something down there, something terrifying. Eris narrows her eyes, her gaze sharpening as she activates her mana sense. Her aura flares gently, almost invisible unless you know what to look for. She's scanning, searching the terrain below with the precision of a seasoned adventurer. But then, she exhales softly and shakes her head. No, Eris murmurs. I'm not sensing anything. Nothing out of the ordinary. My breath catches. What could it be? She pauses, glancing over her shoulder at me with a little concern. You're just exhausted? We've been going non-stop since this morning, and you barely got any rest. I bite my lip. She could be right. My body is tired. My mind foggy from the lack of sleep. Still, this fear isn't something that comes from exhaustion. It's primal. It's real. But if Eris can't feel it, and she's a rank with sharper senses, stronger mana, and more experience than me, then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm imagining it. And I nod quietly. Let's just go. All right, she says with a small smile. Inky, let's move on. Inky lets out a soft rumble and moves forward, his wings spreading wide. But the very instant we move, I double over. Goosebumps all over my body now. Holy fuck. It hits me like a tidal wave. The dread, the force. It's no longer just a sensation. It's real. Crushing down on me like a mountain of invisible weight, wrapping around my heart, digging its claws into my soul. My chest tightens so sharply it feels like I'm suffocating. I gasp, clutching Eris's waist with both arms, burying my face in her back as my whole body trembles violently. My vision blurs. My lungs forget how to breathe. It feels like something is reaching up from the earth itself, grabbing me, pulling me, dragging me down into the abyss. Eris, I choke out, clinging to her with all my strength. Something's down there. It's pulling me. I'm very sure. Instantly, Eris reacts. Inky, stop. Inky hovers midair, his wings flapping slowly, stirring the icy wind beneath us. The pressure lingers for a moment, thick, suffocating, pressing down like a storm cloud about to burst. Then, just as suddenly as it came, it fades. Gone, like the remnants of a nightmare, vanishing the moment you open your eyes, yet leaving your heart pounding in its wake. I collapse against Eris, trembling, gasping for breath. Cold sweat trails down my back, soaking into my clothes despite the chill. Eris, I whisper, my voice barely audible, cracked and raw. I'm not imagining it. I swear. It's there. For a few seconds, she doesn't say anything. She just watches me, really watches me. Her sharp eyes searching my face, reading the tremble in my arms, the stiffness of my tail, the panic in my breath. Then she nods once. I still don't feel it, she says quietly, her voice steady. But if it's hitting you this hard, we're going to check it out. My eyes widen. Is that okay? Yeah, she says with a reassuring squeeze of my hand. We're not in a rush anyways. And besides, it doesn't hurt just to check, right? And if something is down there, her voice turns serious. I'd rather deal with it now. And then, I nod, still shaking. Felicia, Eris then adds, turning slightly toward me. Let me know the second the feeling gets worse. Okay. With that, Inky begins to descend. His wings tilt slightly, and we drift downward in slow, smooth arcs, gliding on the cold wind. The sky is still painted with streaks of shimmering aurora, dancing above us like celestial silk. Beneath us, the snowy terrain gleams softly, untouched and silent. Peaceful, deceptively peaceful. From this height, nothing looks unusual, just another quiet corner of the Vanessa dungeon. Serene, still, but the lower we go, the feeling returns. It presses in from all sides, thick and heavy, like walking into a room filled with smoke you can't see, but feels seeping into your lungs. Each second, it sharpens. The air turns heavier. The dread curls around my chest, dragging its claws down my spine. It's worse than before, like they're trying to crawl under my skin. My breathing shortens. My heart stutters in its rhythm. I can't keep still. I squeeze Eris's hand tighter. She squeezes back. "I'm here," she whispers. "I'll keep you safe, no matter what happens." Her voice is calm, confident, an anchor in this storm of fear. I cling to it, tightly, right? Eris is strong. There's no need to fear. There's no need to be afraid of anything, because nothing can possibly harm me anymore, as long as Eris is here. And somehow, that thought alone steadies me. The fear doesn't vanish, but it dulls, turns from a scream into a low hum, something I can endure. My heartbeat starts to calm. Little by little, together, we descend past the tree line, down toward a flat, snow-covered clearing nestled at the base of the mountain. The trees surrounding it are crooked, their dark limbs arching like twisted fingers. Wind blows softly across the white field, rustling the branches. From the outside, it looks harmless. No movement, no sounds, just untouched snow and scattered stones. But I feel it. Every part of me feels it. This place is wrong. Every instinct screams. It's here. Something is here. Eris doesn't hesitate. She leaps down from Inky's back, landing in the snow with silent, effortless grace. Her boots sink just slightly into the powder as she straightens. Inky follows, his massive wings folding neatly against his sides as he settles just behind Eris. We then stand together. Eris is on her feet while I'm still sitting on Inky. We stare at the edge of a silent, snowy clearing. The trees around us creak faintly in the cold breeze, their skeletal branches rattling like bones. The air is still, too still. And then, "Monsters," Eris whispers. My breath catches, my head whipping around to look for enemies. But I see nothing. However, just when I'm about to open my mouth and ask Eris, the snow rustles. At first, it's just a soft sound like wind brushing through leaves. But then, shapes begin to emerge from the dark, pulling themselves slowly out of hidden burrows beneath the snow, and from the darkness around us. Eyes, thousands of them, crimson red, flaring open all at once, like dying embers reigniting in the shadows. They stare, unblinking, hungry, soulless. The first one appears into the light, then the second, then a third, and soon an army. White-furred spiders, each one bigger than a car, more than 2 meters tall, 3 meters wide, their swollen abdomens covered in jagged ice crystals. Their legs move in twitching, unnatural rhythms, scraping against the snow and rock with a sickening chit-chit-chit. Their mandibles twitch and clack, producing a sound like cracking glass. Drool sizzles as it hits the snow, melting holes in it with acidic hisses. Eris and I both shiver. Yeah, of course we don't like spiders. Vanessa, ice spiders. Eris mutters, tightening her stance. They're nocturnal, very active in this region once the sun goes down. Rank C. I nod shakily, gripping onto Inky. Felicia, are these what you were sensing earlier? Eris asks. However, even though those guys look intimidating indeed, I'm not very sure if the source of my feeling early is coming from them. I'm not sure, Eris. I mutter. Neither of us have time to say more, because the spiders begin to move. Clicking, crawling, encircling, dozens of them, then hundreds. They surround us in a shifting, chittering circle of fur and fangs and ice. Their bodies press in closer and closer, legs digging into the snow, building tension like the calm before a lightning strike. My gut clenches. I feel sick. Then Eris's voice breaks through. Well, there's only one way to find out. She thrusts out her hand. Whoosh! A halberd of pure darkness forms in her grip, materializing in a blast of shadow and cold air. The weapon crackles with energy, its blade long and wicked, glinting faintly with violet edges. Inky, protect Felicia. Foom. Inky lifts off in a single, thunderous flap of his wings, snow and ice blasting outward in a windstorm. Webs launch toward me. Those spiders really don't want me to go. But, whoosh! A gust from Inky's wings shreds them mid-air, dispersing the sticky threads before they can even come close. Now I'm high above, safe on Inky's back. But Eris, she's alone down there. Eris! I cry out, heart hammering. Don't worry, she shouts, her voice confident. I got it. Moment she says that, she disappears. A blink, a blur. She reappears beside the nearest spider, halberd already mid-swing. And then, slash! The blade slices clean through the creature's body at a diagonal, severing it in two. Push! A burst of dark, steaming blood explodes from the wound, splattering across the snow like spilled oil. Eris flips back mid-air, just narrowly avoiding the splash. TCH, that's why I hate spiders, she mutters, grimacing. I gag, cover my nose. My face, too, is filled with disgust. Gods, it stinks like rotting meat and sulfur boiled together. Anyways, one down. Hundreds more to go. The remaining spiders don't even flinch at the sight of their friend being murdered. They charge, and thus, Eris, once again, begins her massacre of another entire monster population.